way. But I find that this gives me that supplement that I was missing before.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this offer by using discount code Chicago.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is sponsored by TJ Stearns Financial Planning. Certified financial planner Tim Stearns holds a weekly discussion of the financial challenges to secure retirement. Listen Saturday at noon for Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A little bit of a misdirection play. We're not talking about Tony Fauci. We're talking about our local sad little man.
Which one?
Lori Lightfoot.
Oh, Lori Lightfoot.
Triple threat. Part of a NBC5 documentary on the migrant crisis in Chicago. I'm just getting wind of it. Okay. Lori Lightfoot sat down to give some perspective on the beginnings of this migrant crisis. Remember how she had all the time in the world to go back and forth with Governor Greg Abbott and spend time being critical of him and send him letters saying, please stop sending migrants? Well, the whole matter of migrants ending up for extended periods of time at police precincts around the city and in front of police precincts around the city.
It was disgusting.
She didn't want that.
Oh, she didn't?
She didn't want that, but unfortunately, she only had a few days left in office when that started, according to her, and she couldn't do anything about it. Take a listen.
I'll take you back to about 10 days before I was leaving office. It was a Saturday. I get a call from my chief of staff. More buses are coming. I will tell you, that was a very tough moment. I felt sick to my stomach because I knew what that meant.
Did you think it was going to get that bad? To the point where people are sleeping in police station lobbies?
Well, look, that should never have been a thing. And that started on my watch. I was not happy about it. I thought the decision that was made, frankly, by someone in the police department to make that happen was very, very foolish. And I expressed that, said this can't be a thing. But then I left office, and we know what happened after that.
I smell a lie.
Well, I mean, it's just that we know what the timeline is.
Right.
And if you didn't want migrants sleeping in police precincts, whether you had 10 days in office or 1 day in office, then why didn't you overrule whoever made a foolish decision in the police department, according to you, and provide the alternative to what was done? You had the power to do so. You certainly didn't repudiate sanctuary city designation. You didn't say that we're not a we're not a welcoming city in the sense of people can just come whenever they want from wherever they want and demand whatever they want. So I mean, it's customary for politicians to play, the pass the buck game. It wasn't my fault. It was the police chief's fault. And then I was out of office. So now it's BLM Brandon's problem. But that's just not true. She had no answers for things that were happening on her watch other than to parrot the talking points of the ideologues to whom she was beholden for the entirety of her term because she played the identitarian game. She had a chance. Just remember, and we gave her a chance. She had a chance to be something different than triple threat, how she identified herself, an identitarian political hack. She had a chance to do something different. And a lot of people suggested that she knew better, but she made that choice anyway. She made that cynical choice, and she continues to make cynical choices in her post-mayoral reputational rehabilitation phase now.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. We'll see if our text line's working today. She could have just said no. Why?
Well,
Did New York's police stations weren't crowded with people?
Well, New York's got all kinds of other
But
problems.
they have other problems.
What's the plan? You knew it was happening. You weren't going to do anything to stop it from happening. You knew what Abbott was doing. I mean, he was sending press releases. He was blaring it from the rooftops down in Austin. So you knew it was coming. Oh, when they said more buses are coming. Oh, so that implies that there had been buses that had come. Of course there were. So it was clear they weren't going to stop. So what were you going to do about it? Nothing. You were going to demagogue the issue politically by saying, we're using the same thing that Mr. 10% is saying in D.C. And all of the other open borders acolytes. They're using people as political pawns. Shame, shame, shame. Tisk, tisk, tisk. That's what Lori Lightfoot's plan was. She had no plan, which was basically a feature of her 4 years as mayor.
And it made me sick because they stayed there for almost, 9 months. They were there. Before then, they shut down other public areas, like park districts, and put them there.
I got to tell you,
hotels.
So I'm driving on the Ike yesterday to go downtown to meet a buddy for dinner at Chicago Cut.
Yeah. How many families did you run into? Because I have a family count.
What?
I counted. Finish your story because I want to.
This is about 6 o'clock in the evening. And it's taking, I get it's going to be bumper to bumper for most of the way, but it's taking a unduly long time. And then I get, it's a little bit west of Sacramento, and 2 lanes are closed because there are expressway workers filling potholes with asphalt at 6 o'clock in the evening.
I know.
I mean, could you be any more insulting to people? Could you have any less regard for people in Chicagoland than to fill potholes during, basically rush hour or, just past rush hour?
It's rush hour. Yeah, no, we do stupid stuff like that every single second of the day. Why aren't they working on the Kennedy at night? Bring in the lights and start working. They do that in Utah and Nevada. They do all road work. They bring in big lights, and they do it so that they don't inconvenience people. It's really a great thing. And they get the stuff done right away. This project that's going to take 6 years or something, come on. Work at night. Get it done.
A feature of Soviet-style regimes is not just the humiliating you with their rhetoric, like Lightfoot is attempting to do here by revising what occurred on her watch. It's also just rank incompetence. Things crumble. Systems don't work. The central planners are not particularly effective or adept, and since there's no accountability, what does it matter? What do they care as long as they protect their sinecures? That's how it actually plays out in practice, and that's just what you're seeing in Chicago. I mean, it's just... You can, but again, no insult is too demeaning for Chicagoans to make a course correction, it would seem. No insult is too demeaning. This is a population, the political ruling class can't be shamed, and the population, the electorate, cannot be demeaned. It's a terrible combination. George in Naperville.
Yeah, Dan, Lori Lightfoot's only concern with the police was that they'd give her protection even after she leaves. That was her biggest concern for them.
Thanks for the call, George. Yeah, I maybe her detail was slashed in half to, 60 or 55, something like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's still a big group of people.
Oh, no, I mean, I don't know what her actual detail is, but I'm sure she still enjoys some
She has a
security.
Yeah. My
I mean,
friend saw her at a Sky game.
just all these things just add up. And so now the big story in Chicago is not this ongoing problem with people here illegally, the cost, the impact on public safety, so forth. It's let's look at all the character letters that were sent to the judge in the Ed Burke case to
Save his soul.
to reduce the sentence the prosecution wants from 10 years to something more reasonable, so that Anne and Ed can enjoy their golden years. That's the big story. Look at all these letters coming from all these, and Gary McCarthy, Law and Order guy. Oh, I would never write a letter for anybody like this for anybody other than Ed Burke. And it's all the stories it's like that are typical of, like, he was the mob boss that gave turkeys away to the neighborhood to kids at Thanksgiving. It's all of that sort of variety, and just glossing over 50 years of being a kleptocrat, because we pay homage to the Soviet leadership of the city, no matter how much they demean, no matter how much they steal, no matter how much they facilitated the disintegration of the city. It's really sick.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Protecting and growing your retirement assets can be complicated. From asset and legacy protection to retirement income and extended care, you need a plan. Mark Kohler, host of Retirement and Income Radio, heard Sundays at 11 a.m., helps retirees in or near retirement protect their accounts from market volatility. Mark can help you create lifetime guaranteed, inflation-hedged income. Call Mark today at 844-619-SAFE. That's 844-619-7233. And listen this Sunday at 11 a.m. to Retirement and Income Radio.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Dan, Mayor Johnson, speaking of mayors, has a comment for you. Don't question why he's spending $30K a year in hair and makeup. How dare you?
I'm not going to, because I know he's got to raise 3 black children and a black wife at home. So at 5:38, in addition to BLM Brandon, we'll also update you on the Pass the Lemons migrant case out of Western Springs we talked to you about yesterday. Those Venezuelan migrants that were stealing bikes and that were not arrested. They were just sent to Chicago. We got an update, 5:38.
Oh, great. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
It's 5:32, 73 muggy degrees. The White House isn't ruling out this morning whether President Biden would commute his son Hunter Biden's sentence. That from Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre yesterday, declining to say whether the president would consider doing so. Governor Ron DeSantis declaring a state of emergency in the state of Florida as it deals with torrential rainfall. Our reporter Mark Mayfield is on the scene.
Heavy rain and life-threatening flooding hit the Miami area and other parts, leaving flooded streets and stranded drivers. DeSantis declared the emergency for Miami-Dade, Broward, and other Florida counties. Over 320 flights at Miami International Airport and more than 280 flights at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport were canceled. The National Hurricane Center says a tropical disturbance in the Gulf of Mexico is behind the downpour. I'm Mark Mayfield.
House Republicans are approving a resolution holding Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. GOP going after Garland for refusing to turn over recordings of President Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur. A man walking on the city's north side when he was shot this morning, according to Chicago police. It happened around 1 a.m. in the 1600 block of Astor in the Gold Coast. No one is in custody. CPD Area 3 detectives are investigating. 3 children and 2 adults were hospitalized Wednesday with critical injuries, all following a multi-vehicle crash involving a bicycle on Chicago's north side. It happened yesterday in the 1600 block of West Jonquil Terrace in the Rogers Park neighborhood. State police are investigating after 3 Ogle County Sheriff's deputies were shot in the town of Dixon, west of Chicago. Ogle County Sheriff Brian Van Vickle says they received a call yesterday from a homeowner claiming her adult son was having suicidal and homicidal thoughts.
We requested the state police conduct the investigation into the officer-involved shooting, and they will be handling the investigation from this point on.
3 deputies and the suspect identified as Jonathan Gunaris were struck by gunfire. As the deputies entered the home, they were all sent to the hospital. We've learned this morning that 2 of the deputies have been released. No one hurt after a semi crashes into an apartment building in South Suburban Morris. The incident happened yesterday near I-80 and Annie Lane, and Illinois State Police continue their investigation. Chicago aldermen sign off on a quiet zone ordinance that may run afoul of the U.S. Supreme Court. The controversial buffer zone is tied to an abortion clinic in the West Loop.
It will incite Christians to come and minister and provide resources to these mothers and fathers because they have a choice here.
Pro-abortion City Council member Bill Conway pushed the measure that establishes the so-called quiet zone around the clinic.
I am trying to find the best way to help women access health care without the harassment that they regularly face at this location. And I firmly believe that this very constitutional measure will enable that to happen.
Also introduced by Alderman Brian Hopkins Wednesday, a potential year-round 8 p.m. curfew for minors in large groups in the Central Business District.
This ordinance was prompted by a tragic event that happened in my ward in Streeterville, an attack on 2 of my residents who were just coming home from dinner out.
Mayor Brandon Johnson called the move by Hopkins problematic.
If a young person has to be accompanied by an adult, what is the definition of an adult? Is it an 18-year-old? Is it a 19-year-old? Is it a 21-year-old? These are just reasonable questions.
No vote was held on the proposed curfew for minors, as it first has to be referred to committee before it potentially is added to the city council agenda. Cubs even up their series with the Rays after earning a 4-3 victory. White Sox lost to Seattle 2-1, and the Celtics are a game away from a sweep and an NBA title after beating the Mavericks 106-99. The news, a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka is confused.
I'm so puzzled, as you, I am sure, also are, by the fact that we've been told for 3.5 years that there is no crisis at the border. Everything's fine. But now you have to have a national address saying that asylum seekers must come here legally.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Suburban Welding and Steel is your local welding, fabricating, and repair shop where service and quality is number one. Their dedicated team of experts can repair a job on site or in their shop located in Franklin Park. They have the machinery needed to get your project completed with the craftsmanship and precision so you can get back to business. Suburban Welding and Steel Services, more than just the manufacturing industry. They also service the food industry, heavy equipment, trucking, airports, and railroads. Walk-ins are also welcome, so if you need it welded, repaired, fabricated, or modified, Suburban Welding and Steel will do the laser cutting, machining, forming, and plate rolling for you. Or they have the materials you need in stock and ready for the purchase. And if you know a hardworking person looking for a career in the trade, Suburban Welding and Steel is looking to add to their team of experts. Visit suburbanweldingandsteel.com To see the full story on what they can do for you, suburbanweldingandsteel.com.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Join me, Dennis Prager, on an unforgettable Bible cruise to the Caribbean, November 29th to December 8th. 2024. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun, surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. Amid profound conversations, I'll share about the Bible and my insights into current events in a way that I believe you will really enjoy. Secure your spot on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure by calling 855-565-5519 or booking online at PragerBibleCruise.com.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's promo code EARN.
5:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of Ad Properties, Christie's International Real Estate, with over $800 million in sales. You'll get the most value for your home. 708-828-0000. 8094 reported an accident this morning eastbound. It's on the off-ramp to Grant, but it is backing up the main line. That car went into the water on the right-hand side there of 8094. Stevenson, full ramp to the Dan Ryan already this morning, backing things up to Ashland. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Hot, maybe a strong afternoon thunderstorm hitting around 4 p.m. So watch out for that. High 90, thunderstorms early, low 66 overnight. Right now clear and 76. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So I wanted to update the story we brought you yesterday, Western Springs, from over the weekend. A dozen illegal immigrants, Venezuelans, were stealing bikes and casing other bikes to steal, including by a pool in Western Springs. And some people saw what they were doing and called police. Police recovered one of the bikes they stole and returned it to the owner, and then arrested them and processed them. No,
the end.
No. They put them on a train. They put them on the metro and sent them to Chicago to be Chicago's problem. I mean, I understand it, but you just sort of set a precedent that we'll just do the dance of the lemons. As I said yesterday, borrowing from Davis Guggenheim and Waiting for Superman, we'll just send people who commit crimes to the next community over. Well, that can rebound on Western Springs too. It would if I was the mayor of a community next to Western Springs, or frankly the mayor of Chicago. Really, I got some guys I could send you. So that's not really law enforcement. We talked to Jim Glasgow about this a little bit yesterday too, the Will County State's attorney, and I said I understand. And the retired Riverside Police Chief Tom Weitzel weighed in on this on Twitter and said he mentioned the Safety Act. This is living under the Safety Act, the Pritzker Purge Law. And I get it. So I'm not coming down too hard on Western Springs Police, because basically the position is they don't have any identification on them. Right. We can't hold them, Safety Act, to determine who they might be, and they're not going to show up for their court dates. So what are we doing? Not to mention the thing I forgot to mention, and I really should have.
What?
I forgot to mention that Heidi Rudolph is the mayor of Western Springs.
And who is Heidi Rudolph?
Well, we've brought you to her to your attention before, because Heidi Rudolph is this typical soulless identitarian corporate hack. She's an executive at CB Richard Ellis. Of course she is. Oh, they said they're so educated and talented. High earners in Western Springs. They must be smart. They must have great leadership qualities. Or not. She is one of the people who had the, in this house, we believe no human is illegal, love is love, science is real, women's rights are human rights, Black Lives Matter, water is life, and kindness is everything. That sign was in her front yard. Because she's a serious person.
Because she needs to display that on a sign.
Pathetic.
Oh, that's. I didn't even know they made signs like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot going on.
I'm sure
sign.
It's a T-shirt. It's a sign. I'm sure
and on
they're.
the back it says, "an all-around good person."
I'm sure they can be found in Lakeview. She's a Democrat. Oh, what? Really? She said, should buses of migrants arrive in Western Springs, we are prepared to support their efforts to safely and efficiently board Chicago-bound trains. Wait a second. No human is illegal, Heidi. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming. We want to safely get you the hell out of our community. Why? What the open borders require open doors, Heidi, Mayor Rudolph. So I forgot that this is the political leadership of Western Springs, and no doubt that had influence on how Western Springs police handled this case and cases like it. She said, this is back in January, that the village has been monitoring the arrival of buses of asylum-seeking migrants in many neighboring towns in DuPage County. Yes. She also said that it is, because she shared that sign on Facebook because she's so proud of that sign in her yard. She said it's impossible to dispute or refute any of those statements. Well, right. Yeah, right. No human is illegal. Possible to dispute or refute. But what about the living that statement, Heidi? No, she's just going to impose the lifestyle impact on her constituents, which, again, elevated her to mayor. So Western Springs getting what it wants and getting it good and hard, which is a story that repeats itself all over Chicagoland, doesn't it?
Isn't her number one job to keep her residents safe?
The Western Springs Police Department issued a statement about the details of the bikes. These bikes were reportedly taken from the rocks by groups of juveniles. How do you know they were juveniles? How do you know they were? You're saying you can't identify them. You can't identify the ages. You don't have ID. How can you distinguish that they're 16 versus 19 or 20? Really? Groups of juveniles. Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, maybe. But you're just saying that to minimize it, aren't you? Yes, you are. The other thing that is interesting about this, and just sort of the general problem, because this is not limited to Western Springs. We've had, obviously, huge burglary rings in Oak Brook, and you've had Oak Brook police, at the mall, and Oak Brook police have weighed in on that.
Well, they laughed. Remember 5 of them when they arrested them? They were laughing the entire time, and then Bob Berlin, he tried to keep them behind bars, but they got out. Laughing because they know, like, what are you going to, okay, arrest me, sure. This is a joke. And it was a joke.
One of the issues with people in this country illegally is they can't really take them in and fingerprint them because they have no names and they're not in the system, so it all goes nowhere.
Yeah, and you're right, though. How did they know that they were juveniles?
Well, they don't. They don't have
somebody
IDs.
Speak
they
Spanish
don't.
And ask them how
They're
old
just,
they are?
they're just saying it to minimize it, to
Make it look like it's silly kids.
And I mean, again, if there's no hue and cry from Western Springs residents, then why should I care? I don't. But I'm just pointing it out. Maybe there are other suburbs with residents who do care. I talked to a police officer, not in Western Springs, but elsewhere. And he was telling me that this is an issue with people in this country legally. It's been for a long time. That they often have 2 last names, which are hyphenated, but enter it into the system incorrectly, like as a middle and last name. So the records on people in this country illegally are a mess. And thus, the fingerprinting doesn't get you anywhere because you've got fingerprints that are sort of misidentified with names that are misentered. This is sort of like the real world administrative headaches that come with having no particular semblance of an orderly process to allow people into this country and for sanctuary cities and states to then celebrate the influx of people coming from all over the world through our southern border to their fair communities where no human is illegal, says Western Springs Mayor Heidi Rudolph.
And it's not if, it's when they rob again, somebody steals something else from someone, because these immigrants, these illegals are now feel empowered. They know what's going on.
So, and
They know
again,
the rub.
Again, a small percentage of a big number is a big problem.
Yep.
Report out yesterday, NBC News. Federal authorities have opened more than 100 investigations into crimes committed by members of the violent Venezuelan El Tren de Aragua gang. 100 cases by the feds. Well, but I mean, there's so many. There's hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan migrants in this country illegally. Yeah, no, I know. So it's a small percentage. But I don't know, 100 criminal cases, and that's just one aspect of one international gang. Well, it's preventable crime. That's what we're always talking about, preventable crime, because you have no vetting, and because this is all done seat of the pants, and there's no real ability to process because there's no vetting, so there's no information. You just have chaos, and you have people being victimized, both legal U.S. residents and U.S. citizens, as well as people in this country illegally, by predators who are treated like anybody else who wants to come into this country and make a better life for themselves. And they don't. They don't. Okay. Our very own Sack of Durbin took to the Senate floor to talk to himself about DACA. Given one of those speechifies, doing a little bit of that speechifying into an empty chamber. DACA at 12 years old. It's been 12 years since Obama illegally, unconstitutionally said children brought over here illegally by their parents can stay. We'll just create the program out of whole cloth. 12 years, 12 glorious years.
Yet without congressional action for more than 2 decades, every day is spent in fear of their lives being uprooted, facing the fear of deportation. Mr. President, I'm amazed when I think about the issue of immigration. When you really come to understand America and its place in the history of the world, you realize that we are first and foremost a nation of immigrants. People who have come from every corner of the world to be part of the American dream, who, despite the odds, have overcome hardship and really built a future for themselves and made this great nation today. And yet, every successive generation seems to go through the debate as to whether or not immigration is a good thing. I think we all agree that we need an orderly process at our borders and otherwise when it comes to immigration. I think we all agree that we cannot absorb every person in the world who wants to be part of the United States today. We have a priority to first look at those who live in this country and to measure our needs economically with the reality of immigration. We also have an obligation to only allow those to come to this country who are going to be safe and not cause any danger to those of us who live here. These are the basics. But having said that, we are in desperate need of immigrants coming to this country for so many reasons.
I mean, can we remind him in 2008, the Democratic Party had majorities in both chambers. They could have passed this, and they didn't do it. When they had all control in the House and the Senate, and Obama's the president, they could have done this, and they didn't do it, and they dragged their feet, and I don't know why. And now they're still biatching about it.
Oh, you do know why. I mean, Tiny Dancer didn't want to do it when he was Obama's chief of staff to provide amnesty, blanket amnesty with no border security, which is what they aim to do, was unpopular. It still is.
So, you mean this was never really about the people and about the poor kids who were taken to this country, some of them unbeknownst to them because they were tiny at the time? Okay.
The Durbin statements, again, the typical saying unreasonable things in a reasonable tone of voice, which you get from Sack of Durbin, is just more of the insulting rhetoric you get from the politicians that are elected in Illinois. Oh, these are the basics of immigration. Sure, basics that the basics he described, none of which he subscribes to. All of which he undermines with every vote he makes on immigration-related policy, every speech he offers into the vacuum inside the Beltway that he makes on the topic. And he gives you the anecdotal stories of the dreamers who beat the odds to become nurses and doctors and otherwise be productive people in living in this country.
Right. And that is partly true.
Yeah, of course it's partly true.
But I've got a friend who's a dreamer. She had no idea. I worked with her in El Paso. She had no idea that she was born in Mexico. The family never told her. And then we tried to get passports to go to Europe, and there was no birth certificate because she wasn't born in America. She's not living in fear that she's going to get deported.
Well, nobody is living in fear that they're going to get deported at present, and that's part of the problem.
Well, deport the criminals. That's why I can't wait. I want Trump in office right now. Just deport the criminals. Start there, please.
Here's Durbin's review of DACA at 12 years old. Okay. Thanks to him, by the way. He wants to make sure that you know that he deserves a lot of the credit.
This week marks the 12th anniversary of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, known as DACA. President Obama created DACA in response to a request that I made with Senator Richard Lugar, Republican of Indiana. When we couldn't pass the DREAM Act, I appealed to the president to use his executive authority to create a program that would protect these young people as long as possible. He came up with DACA. And under this program, 830,000 individuals were able to be protected. Now, they had to go through a background check. Every 2 years, they had to renew their application, and they had to pay a fee. That was understood. But it seemed like a reasonable thing to allow these talented people to stay in America and to be part of our future. DACA has protected more than 830,000 young people from deportation, all of whom were brought to this country as children, some as old as just a few months.
Right. And this was a report issued by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services in June of 2018, so halfway in to DACA. 770,000 approved DACA applications from 2012 to 2018. Nearly 54,000 had a prior arrest or apprehension.
Oh, my gosh.
7,800 had a later arrest or apprehension after approval and before renewal. So they got approved. 7,800. 7,800 is a small percentage of 770,000, but it's still a big problem. 7,800 people were later arrested. Among the 66,000 applicants were denied in that period, almost 21,000 had a prior arrest or apprehension. And they were denied, and what happened to them? They stay anyway? Why not? Because they're certainly not fearing deportation, or they weren't under Obama, and they're not under Biden. So if they were able to skate during the Trump years, they're still here. And to the extent that, and that's to the extent that anybody can even quantify these various categories of people in the country illegally or quasi-legally. But I know until your bike is stolen, your kid's bike is stolen in Western Springs, it doesn't mean anything to you. You keep the sign, the no person is illegal sign in your yard and go about your merry way. As the country, the state, your city, your region gets undermined a little bit at a time, like erosion. Just erodes a little bit at a time with each passing day until all of a sudden it collapses.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey, business owners, are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Well, Signature Bank can help. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that Signature Bank's loan decisions are made locally by a team who knows your name. cares about your business, and is invested in your success. When you need advice about your business or even have a question, Signature Bank is there to help. There are no handoffs or call centers. This is a team that wants to get to know you and your business. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. When I call, someone picks up the phone on the other end. And with Signature Bank, I can securely bank anywhere, anytime. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630. That's 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. Signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
John Stossel has the story of the Success Academy schools in New York City. And, of course, any school that has success with kids is going to be targeted by the Guardians Against Success, the teachers' unions. And that's what's happening in New York City at 6:06.
And later, why we should all spend money, thousands of dollars, getting our hair and makeup done. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A man walking on the city's north side was shot this morning. 3 children and 2 adults hospitalized Wednesday with critical injuries after a multi-vehicle crash on the north side. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
A meeting of world leaders in Italy, and President Biden is there. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Allora, buongiorno a tutti.
They were welcomed by Italian Prime Minister Meloni, and joining the G7 summit today will be Ukraine's President Zelensky.
He'll meet President Biden on the sidelines of the summit, the two men signing an agreement pledging long-lasting U.S. support for Ukraine. The White House sees the agreement as a signal to Russia's Vladimir Putin that he can't outlast Ukraine and its allies. The G7 will also send a message to China, the leaders looking to unite against Beijing's political and economic ambitions, but some anxious to avoid an all-out trade war.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. There's also a meeting at NATO headquarters in Brussels focused on helping Ukraine battle Russia. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and his counterparts considering a long-term assistance plan and military training. Former President Trump will be in Washington this morning to meet with House Republicans in a few hours. Here's Speaker Mike Johnson.
We have to fix effectively every area of public policy.
It will also be the former president's first time on Capitol Hill since the events of January 6, 2021. Speaker Johnson says it's been spoken about multiple times and that President Trump respects the transfer of power.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. The former president will meet with Senate Republicans after that House meeting. Now, the House has voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for refusing to hand over audio of President Biden's interview with special counsel Hur in the Biden classified documents investigation. Congressman James Comer tells Fox Business.
Republicans in the House are unified in trying to hold people accountable in the government.
Now, Garland says they're just turning congressional authority into a partisan weapon. He did turn over transcripts of the Biden interview, but the president asserted his executive privilege over the audio. Hur controversially decided not to pursue charges, saying the president came across as elderly with a poor memory. America's listening to Fox News.
73 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. A man walking on the city's north side was shot. It happened, according to Chicago police, around 1 a.m. in the 1600 block of Astor in the Gold Coast neighborhood. 3 children and 2 adults were hospitalized yesterday with critical injuries following a multi-vehicle crash involving a bicycle on Chicago's north side. Police say a vehicle driving at high speeds hit a blue Nissan and then flew into a 13-year-old on a bike before fleeing the scene. 2 adults were rushed to St. Francis Hospital in critical condition. An expected plea deal for a former Chicago public school dean charged with sexually assaulting a student was vacated Wednesday amid a discrepancy in the terms of sentencing. 41-year-old Brian Crowder began to plead guilty to charges but walked back his decision before the judge could sign off over confusion over the length of time that he would be required to register as a sex offender.
Child sex offenders have the highest recidivism rates, and that's why it's important that you don't just put them on as a sex offender for 10 years. But, we'll be back in court in August, and we hope that he will accept responsibility for the crimes committed, and that there will be some closure for this victim, at least in this part of the case.
Attorney Martin Gould. Crowder was charged, you may recall, 2 years ago after a former student, now 25, alleged she was groomed and sexually abused while she was a student at Little Village Lawndale High School. Police are continuing their search for a missing 11-year-old Chicago Southside girl. Ariane Tillman was last seen May 24th in the 3400 block of South Drexel. 4'5", 70 pounds, black hair, black girl with brown eyes and black hair. Cubs even up their series with the Rays after a 4-3 victory at Tropicana Field, while the White Sox are on a 4-game losing skid again, following a 2-1 loss to Seattle. Celtics hold off a late Mavericks rally to take Game 3, 106-99, and move a win away from an NBA title. Another major championship is up for grabs when the U.S. Open tees off today from Pinehurst in North Carolina. Wyndham Clark will be looking to defend his title. The odds-on favorites, Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Rory McIlroy. The big question this week is chip or putt. The greens are brutal. The news a service of Blue Stars Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at BlueStarsSecurityLLC.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees another game from the White House.
Biden pulling an executive order out of his you-know-what is one of the most comical examples of political pandering I've ever seen in my life. Biden insisted, I can't close the border. I don't have the authority to do that. Evidently, when the polls show you're going to lose, suddenly you can find the way.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit ConsumerCellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert, and I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
Are you turning 65 and thinking about Medicare? Or are you over 65 and haven't enrolled yet because you still have coverage at work? Either way, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Imagine having an annual deductible of only $240. There are only 2 good things about aging, wisdom and Medicare. But to navigate the Medicare maze properly, you need a mentor. Best part, my guidance costs you nothing. Call me. I can help.
If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Medicare, then you need a local expert on your side, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 30-year licensed broker who's been educating our listeners for more than a decade. Steve, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Thanks, Dan. They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
6:07, let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center. And this update, a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Hot air roasted locally, cold blended in small batches. To ensure premium quality, choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. Online at papanicholas.com. Kennedy inbound 38, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange already. Stop and go on the inbound Stevenson 38 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. You're slowing up between Ashland and the Dan Ryan. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Breezy, sun, then clouds. A strong thunderstorm around this afternoon. Some hail and damaging wind possible. High 90. Strong thunderstorm early this evening. Otherwise partly cloudy. Low tonight 66. Sunny, pleasant, less humid tomorrow. The high near 81. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
74 at O'Hare, 74 at Midway. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. John Stossel. I'm old enough to remember when he was on 2020 when somebody like John Stossel could actually be on a corporate network news program. And where there was actually such a thing as a news program on the corporate media network.
Barbara Wawa. He was with Barbara Walters.
Hugh Downs.
I remember it so well.
I remember
Loved
Hugh
that
Downs.
show.
I could never distinguish the two. Hugh Downs and Walters. They looked the same. It was like
Don't
like looking in a mirror. The
smirch
two of
her.
them.
She was my hero.
John Stossel. She's your hero.
Not my hero. I mean,
oh my goodness.
I did. I was.
I don't even want to tackle that.
Okay. I was a kid and I wanted to be. All right, whatever.
Yeah, aim higher.
Wanted to go into journalism.
John Stossel continues to do great work in his own right and also for Reason.com, Reason Magazine. And he continues to put in the fight for parental choice for poor to middle-income families. And I'll tell you what, the school choice movement and tens of thousands of parents whose kids benefited from choice owe John Stossel a debt of gratitude for his decades of excellent storytelling in furtherance of their interests. He's got another one. And, you like to tell success stories and also press the issue of why we can't scale these success stories. Literally, Success Academy. Why can't we scale it in New York?
This is our largest crew to date.
So many kids from one charter school take advanced placement exams. They had to rent space at a convention center. Kids who attend rich suburban schools sometimes pay $500 an hour for tutoring for tests. But these kids can't afford that. They're mostly from low-income families. They attend a city charter chain, yet they succeed.
Outperforming their peers by a landslide.
On math tests, Success Academy kids outperform every school in New York State. Other charters are in blue on this graph, government-run schools in gray. Success kids also outperform other kids in English.
That is redefining American public education.
LeMay DeYoung is Success Academy's chief schooling officer.
Our Black and Hispanic students outperformed their peers by double, triple % in their math.
By peers, you include the rich kids in the suburbs?
Yes.
But school is boring.
No, it's not!
When I first checked out this charter, I was amazed that these kids enjoyed school, saying subjects like reading were
rockin' awesome.
So you guys look forward to going to school in the morning?
Yes.
It's why lots of parents want to get their kids into Success Academy. I watch them line up, hoping to get their kids in.
This line goes on and on forever. Goes around the block. What do you do when you have thousands of people and just a few hundred slots? They hold a lottery.
The winners are happy. Sadly, there are many more losers.
That means my name gonna come next time.
Yeah, next year.
Not today.
That's so sad.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. Our text line's not working, just so you know.
We got it. And so the school choice movement, this is the story that is not unfamiliar to Chicago. We just had this experience. I mean, we have it with selective enrollment schools, but we had it writ large with the tax credit scholarship program and the demand far exceeding the supply. And then it was killed, and it went out with a whimper. And you see these stories, and I don't know. If you're somebody who would have benefited from choice, or if you're somebody who's associated with the choice movement in Chicago and Illinois, you have to be kicking yourself, don't you? I certainly am.
I mean, how did they label the tax credit scholarship fund is somehow racist, or because it was helping black and brown kids?
Right, as if this is a debate on the merits with the left.
I mean, they have their heads so far up there, you know what's.
So Success Academy's success is running afoul of the system, the New York City public school system. And you know what the mantra is, because it's the same one here. Protect the system at the expense of the kids. If not everyone has success, nobody gets to have success. Or they'll certainly die trying to prevent success. And that's exactly what's happening to the Success Academy schools in New York City. The unions and the politicians they own have stepped in to make sure there's not too much success with the Success Academies.
The chain wants to offer its magic to more kids, but they aren't allowed to. New York limits the number of charter schools. Why? Because some people hate them.
Y'all are not welcome here. We will not welcome you here.
Politicians and the teachers' union have convinced many people that charter schools are evil. When progressive Democrats are in charge, they shut some charters down.
The highest performing school in the state.
Upsetting even media leftists.
And it's in Harlem, is being shut down.
Why shut down a successful school? Why not give parents more choice? Here's a union vice president.
We have a lot of choice. It's, do we need more choice?
Yes, competition's good.
Yeah, we do.
But the education establishment doesn't want competition.
Education advocates say charter schools are not the answer, taking away from an already shrinking budget in New York City public schools.
That's completely wrong.
It is. Spending on government schools is not shrinking, it's increasing, despite falling enrollment. Also, charters like Success get half what government-run schools get. Yet with less money, Success does better. Why does Success succeed?
Because we believe children can. And that is
What,
fundamentally...
the other schools don't believe children can?
No, there's low expectations that persist, unfortunately, and even more so after the pandemic.
At other schools, pandemic-related learning loss is the new normal, but not its Success. Every one of these kids has been accepted by a college. Here they cheer as friends open their acceptances.
That doesn't just happen.
One reason it does is because the school day here is longer.
Kids often stay till 5 p.m. Charter teachers can be asked to work more than the union would have allowed. They told us they don't mind.
But you're going to burn out. Why aren't you ticked off?
That's not an option for us because we kind of have our eye on the prize.
I mean, that was a teacher and the principal there saying the same thing. The principal and the assistant principals are in classrooms interacting with the teachers, observing the teachers, making comments to the teachers about a question they should ask, or here's another angle into this lesson in order to improve their teaching skills. So it's a collaborative approach where the culture demands production. Contrast that with CPS and, frankly, most of the suburban government school systems, where to the extent you're not finding success with your kids, you get finger pointing. Nobody is responsible. Yeah, certainly from the teachers' unions.
It's the parents or this. We get the kids and this and then that. There's endless litany of excuses from all of the stakeholders. No excuses at Success Academy. From the administrators, from the teachers, the students. You know, you see these videos of students where they're surrounded by their friends, and this would be something that with the government school systems you only see when it's an athlete waiting to announce, you know, like a premier athlete waiting to announce where he's going to go to college or getting drafted into some pro sport, something like that. It's all sort of extracurricular, anomalous sports or perhaps artistically related. At Success Academy, as Stossel showed in his piece, you know, all these kids gathering around their friends where they open their acceptance letters. I got into, you know, whatever, NYU, I got into Princeton, I got into whatever schools they get into. But it's a community where you're competing. You have a culture where excellence is demanded. You expect excellence of yourself, and you celebrate each other's success when they get into the school of their choice, with the understanding that everybody is going next level. And that's something that the teachers union wants to throttle. Of course it does. I mean, I know we talk, and what do we talk about here? We talk about these absurd 7- and 8-figure guaranteed teacher and administrator and superintendent pensions, when most of the kids in most of these districts can neither read nor do math at grade level. It's nothing new, but if Stossel's going to tell success stories, we might as well amplify them so people are reminded that it is possible. It's actually happening. It's just not happening very much here because of the teachers' union's domination of schooling.
Well, yeah, now they want to get rid of selective enrollment, which I'm telling you that is not going to happen. They say it's going to take place in 5 years. Not happening.
Right, just like they're not going to get rid of the tax credit scholarship program. Yeah, what will never happen comes to pass here. Why won't it happen? Because who's going to stop it? You?
No, I'm not me.
Right.
Well, if Brandon Johnson gets knocked out of office, it's not going to happen.
Well, that's a big if.
Yeah.
And it's also assumes that somebody gets in who's any better than him or has any different position on selective enrollment. You're assuming a lot of things. And I love the assumption of things are going to get better magically. No, they're not. Not magically, at least. It's just going to happen because somebody said, oh, you can't do that.
I heard that this is all smoke and mirrors, that he's just doing this because it was another goofy campaign promise that he had.
You think the teachers' unions are smoke and mirrors? Do you think CTU is smoke and mirrors?
I think all the teachers that work at selective enrollment schools aren't on board for this.
Yeah, and what percentage of the teachers' union do they represent?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
very
it's 5 schools of
5 out of 365, so that's pretty small, isn't it?
But you're going to get those white liberal rich people are going to get all their panties in a bunch over that,
and
that's why they live in the city.
And who's
pay for their
yeah,
kids
and who's going to and keep working the logic. Oh, the Vallis voters. Who's going to stop? The Vallis voters are going to not get cannibalized by the committed new Marxists. I guess you didn't hear what happened. Brandon Johnson won that election.
Yeah, I know.
We're just going to assume happier times. We've got some white liberals and some rich white conservatives that are pro-school choice, dilettantes really, or certainly pro-selective enrollment so we can stay in the city and keep our blinders on. Oh, we enjoyed the city so much. Oh, Wicker Park's lovely. Had a great time there. Oh, we send our kids to lab schools 45 minutes away, but it's great. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. It can happen. So Success Academy, Chicago Hope Academy, there are other schools that we've profiled in this show that could be scaled, that could be replicated. But New York City's power structure doesn't want it. You know, the few charter schools that are there, they're green shoots. Same thing in Chicago. And Chicagoland. Such an opportunity. So who's willing to put in the fight? All these people are staying. All these people who are staying are supporting racist policies that discriminate against people based on their household income and their address. Nobody wants to point that out? Cardinal Supich? Anyone? Bueller? Chris and Carrie.
Hey, good morning, guys. This drives me absolutely insane. This is on the heels of us about a month ago getting about a 5% tax increase, property taxes. The majority of it goes to our schools. And my wife being a teacher, it's kind of a weird subject, but our school district now wants to hire, they've approved it, assistant principals for the 4 schools to the tune of $500,000 to mostly handle the discipline problems. I mean, are you fracking kidding me? We're going to spend $500,000 more and we're going to have them handle discipline problems? Why can't the $150,000 principals handle them?
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for the call. Because it's a system that's designed for the adults, not for the kids. These school systems, like education, is a secondary or tertiary issue. It shows. Success Academy, it's the primary issue. And it shows there, too. Listen to a couple of the kids.
I feel like it's unfair that not everybody gets to get this opportunity.
If SA doesn't exist, then we wouldn't all exist, and we wouldn't have all the cool opportunities that we have.
Yeah, and the teachers' union's message to those kids, black and brown kids, at Success Academy there or Chicago Hope here, go to hell. And everybody who stays silent when the political power structure says to these kids, go to hell, is complicit.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Our communities deserve to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. All over Chicagoland, there is an increased need for vital projects like wetland improvements, enhancing water quality, or stormwater mitigation to protect homes against devastating floods. Too often, public officials find themselves at the mercy of outside advisors when planning, budgeting, and building these projects. And let's face it, they rarely meet deadlines or budgets, leaving our communities vulnerable. There's a better way forward. Control Point Engineering. At Control Point Engineering, we're more than just civil engineers. We're champions of quality and efficiency with over 40 years of hands-on experience. Teaming up with Earthworks Land Development, we're breaking down barriers and streamlining processes. Say goodbye to disjointed partnerships and hello to seamless collaboration. From conceptualization to construction, Control Point Engineering delivers everything you need in one unified package, saving you time and money. Visit ControlPointLLC.com today to learn about our successful projects all across Chicagoland. Again, that's ControlPointLLC.com.
All right, this summer, don't forget your Balance of Nature supplements. Remember, hot dogs, burgers, and brats don't provide the fruits and vegetables your body desperately needs every day to stay healthy, happy, and energized. That's why I've been supplementing with Balance of Nature for nearly a decade. It's so easy to open up those individual capsules and dust them over a salad or mix them into a juice drink or warm water. And thousands of AM 560 listeners love their Balance of Nature, and you will too. 6 capsules a day provides your body, your heart, and mind over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables. You will love it, and your body, mind, and heart will thank you for it. Order your fruits and veggie supplements today by calling 800-246-8751 and use coupon code Chicago to save 35% off your first order and free shipping as a preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago. Balance of Nature fruits and vegetable supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-355-4107 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-355-4107. That's 800-355-4107. What do you have to lose? Call 800-355-4107. Again, 800-355-4107.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost, month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost.
Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know, I saw recent polling in Pennsylvania where Trump is leading. Biden got 92% of the black vote in 2020. Now it was like 92-7.
Yeah.
Right now it's 68-23.
Wow.
It's a huge move. And it's one of the reasons he's winning. And it would be, I said this before, it would be a dream come true if Trump gets elected by Latino and black voters, essentially.
Yep.
Which is very possible. And my campaign message to black and brown voters, particularly in urban centers, is don't think about Trump. Vote for Trump to send a message to honky leftists to leave me the frack alone. You do not represent me, honky leftists. I got to workshop that, but there's something there.
Yeah.
To encourage them to tell the Heidi Rudolphs of Western Springs to go frack yourself in no uncertain terms.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Oh, wait, real quick. I want to get to Bill in LaSalle County.
Yes.
Bill in LaSalle County. Hey, Bill.
Are you there?
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Dan. Thanks for taking my call real quickly. Check out Heidi Henry in Oswego area. She's Democrat running for state representative, and she's thoroughly against school choice.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. The question is, is the Republican running for school choice? That's the question you have to ask in this state. That's how bad it is. All right, coming up at 6:36. I know we've got to get to your
hair and makeup.
Brandon Johnson. Yeah, ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille. But also we have a new installment of Why Dan Proft is Single. We'll do one or the other at 6:36.
Why don't we do both?
We
It'll
could
be
do
fun.
both.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
6:32, President Biden is in Italy this morning, joining world leaders for the annual G7 summit. Fox's Jonathan Savage is watching.
The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, has been invited along by host Italy. He'll meet President Biden on the sidelines of the summit, the two men signing an agreement pledging long-lasting U.S. support for Ukraine. The White House sees the agreement as a signal to Russia's Vladimir Putin that he can't outlast Ukraine and its allies. The G7 will also send a message to China, the leaders looking to unite against Beijing's political and economic ambitions, but some anxious to avoid an all-out trade war. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declaring a state of emergency in 5 southern counties in that state due to severe flooding.
The high water seems inescapable. This is why officials are telling people to stay home. When the rain starts coming down like this, Anna Reisdorf doesn't just get worried, she gets busy.
I throw the dogs in, I'm all packed up. I pretty much got everything in bins, and we're ready to go.
Flooded out cars, just one result of treacherous driving conditions. Some folks at certain areas we saw they were about in hip-deep water.
The governor's urging residents in the area to seek higher ground for now. Friends and family of a murdered soap opera actor are demanding authorities do more to find his killers. Supporters of the late Johnny Wachter marched in front of L.A. City Hall demanding justice, they say, for the General Hospital actor. He was killed trying to stop thieves from stealing a catalytic converter. New Jersey Appeals Court has ruled, surprisingly, that warrantless police searches of locked glove boxes and other components compartments in a car are covered under the law. Court ruling that searching a locked glove box during a warrantless search could be less intrusive than impounding the car while police obtain a search warrant. Here in Chicago, a man walking on the city's north side was shot this morning. Shooting happened around 12:53 a.m. in the 1600 block of Astor in the Gold Coast. 3 children and 2 adults were hospitalized Wednesday with critical injuries following a multi-vehicle crash involving a bicycle on the north side. And state police continue investigating after 3 Ogle County Sheriff's deputies were shot in Dixon. Ogle County Sheriff Brian Van Vickle.
We requested the state police conduct the investigation into the officer-involved shooting, and they will be handling the investigation from this point on.
The homeowner had claimed that her adult son was having suicidal and homicidal thoughts. 3 deputies and the suspect, identified as Jonathan Gunaris, were struck by gunfire after the deputies entered the home. Cubs over the Rays 4-3. White Sox lost to Seattle 2-1. Celtics winners over the Mavericks 106-99 and move a win away from an NBA title. The news is a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. Online at papanicholas.com. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk says there should be more charges.
Now, let's be frank. This is not what Hunter Biden should be getting prosecuted for. We have to be very honest. Or it's not even remotely the only thing he's done wrong. In fact, that we know of. There are hundreds of crimes here. Foreign agent registration crimes, potential cyber privacy crimes.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
You've heard Rumpke's Garage commercials on AM 560, and now they specialize in servicing Sprinters and light-duty diesels. But the experts at Rumpke's also service Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. So if you own an Isuzu or Chevy low-cab forward truck but aren't sure where to get it repaired, take it to Rumpke's Garage, your #1 dealer alternative for repairs to your Isuzu NPR, Isuzu F-Series, or Chevy low-cab forward truck. Whether gas or diesel, your truck is the lifeline of your business. That's why Rumpke's Garage offers free loaners while your truck is being serviced. They'll even pick up and deliver for your convenience. Rumpke's Garage has the factory scan tool to properly diagnose Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty. Go to Rumpke'sGarage.com to learn more about their specialization in Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks and schedule your appointment today. That's Remkes, REMKES, Garage.com.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Nature is quite the artist, wouldn't you agree? The pigments that nature uses to paint its fruits and vegetables aren't there just for visual appeal. Those colorings are also essential to our nutrition. Hi, my name is Vincent Clemens, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I found that the vast majority of my clients rarely got enough servings of fruits and vegetables. Balance of Nature dietary supplements can provide more of the concentrated fruit and vegetable ingredients and these pigments. Please remember that consuming a balanced diet should be your first priority in improving your health. Nonetheless, if you're considering a nutritional supplement, then I highly recommend Balance of Nature.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And it is a service of Summit Racing Equipment. Grab great gearhead gifts for Dad. You'll love it. Tools, parts, collectibles. Shop SummitRacing.com. Use promo code radio for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends 6/23/24. Inbound Kennedy stop and go between Armitage and Randolph. Pedestrian was running on the Kennedy this morning. Crews are blocking a right lane as they corralled the pedestrian. Outbound Kennedy, 30 minutes back out to the big airport. 45 in on the Ike, 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, you've got delays inbound between Lamont Road and Cass Avenue. 43 in to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Hot today with a chance of an afternoon strong thunderstorm and a high near 90. 74 right now. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Anybody see that Forrest Gump running on the Kennedy that Mike Scott just reported? I'd love to get some color on that.
Is he eastbound, westbound, Jane Addams? Kennedy. Oh.
When's his early marathon training going on?
You know, what are those motorized scooters that old people drive around in? I saw a guy on Lakeshore Drive heading northbound.
In a rascal?
In the southbound lanes. No, like an old person scooter, like a mobility scooter. He was on Lakeshore Drive on Saturday. I was driving southbound, and he was on the road heading northbound. I called the cops.
What's a mobility? Isn't a mobility scooter? You're talking about? I don't know.
Like a motorized wheelchair, but you have a little basket in front.
Yeah, it's a rascal.
Oh, okay. That's what you call a rascal?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not that old.
He. Okay. Well.
So I didn't hear of him getting killed. I called police right away. Like, he's near Chicago Avenue, Lakeshore Drive, yada yada. But this guy running, the marathon is coming up in October.
Yeah.
Maybe he's getting his long run in. The 20-miler one.
All right, very good. It's normal. BLM Brandon's hair and makeup budget, he's responding to the critiques of it now?
Yeah, it's been 3 days. I'm sure he was hoping it would go away, but reporters finally asked him about it because he used $30,000 of campaign donations, campaign funds, to pay for hair and makeup, not only for himself, Dan, but for other people. Okay, and so one election lawyer, Bert Odelson, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I do know him.
Yeah, he said election law doesn't specifically mention hair and makeup expenses, that is not a function of government to look good. And so that's
not true.
Whoever these election attorneys are, I don't know any of them that you're referring to, but I always believe it's a good idea to support and invest in small businesses.
This is about small businesses, Dan, because he hired the guy, the barber on the west side, who's been his barber for a while, which, by the way, is right next to his county commissioner office. And then the makeup artist, she's from the south side, too.
What? I encourage all of you in this room, support small businesses. Go get your hair and makeup done by black people in particular.
Well, there's no need to overstate the case here. Bert Odelson is a scumbag, first of all. He's like most of these municipal lawyers around Chicagoland are. Bottom feeder, number one. Number two, he's wrong on campaign finance. Of course you can pay for hair and makeup in preparation of a debate or a public appearance or a media hit. Of course you can pay for that out of your campaign fund. Let's not overstate the case against BLM Brandon. He hasn't committed a campaign finance violation, at least not with this. That's ridiculous. So let's just get a hold of ourselves before we just criticize to be critical for no particular reason. Now, that said, I don't know why he doesn't just say that rather than talk about his campaign fund as some sort of small business incubator. That's not that.
And get your hair done by black-owned
Oh
businesses.
my God!
I mean,
of course he's got to have the identitarian piece of it too. These people are just so exhausting. But everyone is exhausting, and I'm sure people find me exhausting. But that's okay. I don't care. But I mean, there's the Bert Olson on one side and Brandon Johnson. There is no sides. Everybody's on the same side except
My point
me.
of contention is you're a dude, $30,000 in 15 months for hair and makeup? I mean, you must be doing something every day, like going to spa days too or something, because that is, I mean, again, I racked up my bills. I was $1,000 for a year. 30,000, come on.
Yeah, I get it.
And he's getting friends and other connected to his campaign. Others, well, who are these other people that you're paying for? I don't know.
I guess.
Probably his chief
I
of
mean,
staff, who knows? Manny Petty's included.
it's not
in
like
that.
he's, using his campaign funds to buy Bruce Lee and Michael Jackson memorabilia, something like that.
Oh, that's right.
That would be a problem. But I mean, yeah, I mean it's what I said. It's the he's the face of the city. Triple Threat was the face of the city before, and it's the magic of Chicago politics. You can be a nobody who can't even pay a water bill, and 1 minute, and then the next minute you're mayor. And you got a $30,000 annual hair and makeup budget thanks to your campaign donors who are mainly city contractors and public sector unions. It's a wonderful racket. I get it.
You know, Beyonce.
But it is just a racket. But it's a legal racket.
But when he got up there and he was talking about, well, guys, I mean, people want to be around me. Beyonce. She mentioned me in social media. I'm like, oh my God, he's such a
Okay.
nerd, and he's now
Yeah.
getting, he's the it guy.
All these politicians are nerds. All these politicians, most of them, 95% plus by back of the envelope guessing, are, broken people who need affirmation, who are never cool. Now they get to hang around with people who are actually cool. They have no talent. Now they get to hang around with people who actually have talent. And they think that by some sort of transference, they're important and they have talent too, but they don't. They're just temporary representatives for 4 years distributing the spoils of war to people that suck up to them. I mean, that's what it really is. Go around, people pay attention to it for 4 years until, they're out of office, and then they, have to, I don't know, have to go back to their little compound in Ravenswood and watch Godfather and stew about all the slights they suffered when they were mayor, and maybe somebody will pick them up to give them a second act in Dalton. I mean, it's just this. They're all pathetic.
And Brandon Johnson said yesterday, he's like, I'm going to be the mayor here until, for the next 3 years.
The
and
only-
I'm retiring in 2047.
The only people more pathetic are the people who vote for him.
Oh, I know. How anyone in the world could have voted for Brandon Johnson.
Oh, no.
Ugh.
And I'm including the people who vote for Paul Vallis. They're the only people worse. Everybody who platforms these Soviet elections where they pretend they're making a choice. Burke versus Clayton Harris. Another one. Progress. Yay. Went to the mat for Eileen O'Shea, Madigan.
Eileen who? Where's she been?
Burke.
O'Neill, Burke. Yeah.
Cullerton. I don't know. Daly. Throw out some other Irish
Quinn.
names.
Quinn.
I just don't have the energy anymore. Yay. We did it. What did you do? I don't know. Matt, Southside.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. I'm old enough to remember when our last mayor, during the pandemic, told us how important it was to look good, and that's why she was allowed to go to her barber.
That's right.
No, she had her
during
own,
COVID.
During COVID. And her wife, Amy, I don't know if I should call out the salon, but they opened their doors and snuck her through the back door because Amy had to look good too. 'cause
Yeah, I
they're
know.
both the face of Chicago.
She had to get her little Benjamin Button suit and get her hair did. I got it. She's the face of the city.
The face. But rules for me, but not for thee.
Mike in the loop.
Oh, I remember I was outraged that day.
Just remember, you guys, politics is show business for ugly people.
Thank you, PG O'Rourke. Yes.
Okay,
thanks,
here.
Mike.
Let's go back to the time machine.
The woman who cut my hair had a mask, had gloves on. I'm the public face of the city. I'm on national media, and I'm out in the public eye. And I'm a person who I take my personal hygiene very seriously. As I said, I
Obviously.
felt like I needed to have a haircut.
Obviously.
We don't, but you do. That is so fantastic. Because, Dan, it was okay because they both had masks and gloves on. Too. Just remember.
I take my personal hygiene very seriously.
That's great.
It's wonderful.
Dan, do you take your personal hygiene very seriously?
You still the face of the city? Still?
How's that working for her?
How's the personal hygiene now that you're the face of Dalton? Phil and Darian.
Hey, good morning, guys. Listen, can you imagine if any other race said what he said? Get your hair and makeup done by black people. Amy, he didn't say black. No, he didn't say that. He said, get your hair and makeup done by black people. Play it over. That's what he said. There's a difference because black-owned businesses could support other races, working for them. But no, that ain't what he said. He didn't say black-owned business. He said, get your hair and makeup done by black people. Can you imagine if any other race said that? A Chinese person, get your hair and makeup done by Chinese people. An Arab
Or
saying,
Paul
get your hair
Vallis
and
was
makeup
mayor and said,
done.
get your hair and makeup done by white people.
Thanks for the call, Phil.
He did say that. You're right.
Uh-huh.
Do I need to play it again?
Do your interviews with black people.
Yeah,
too. That was just
years
like
in.
a 2.0. Lightfoot said, do your interviews with black people. Now we're just getting our hair. I mean, I'd let Cedric the Entertainer cut my hair.
You would?
Ice Cube.
Uh-huh.
I go to the barber shop.
Will you go to a barber shop?
No, I don't want
You
to.
can French braid it. So long.
I'm gonna get a bun.
Oh, a man bun. That'll be great. Maybe for the golf outing next week.
I'm gonna get a Seagal.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna do a Seagal. Okay. Robert Bloomingdale.
No, I don't think a cigar would look good on you, Dan.
Yeah,
He's
well.
already halfway there, folks.
Yeah.
Look at our.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's a nice guy, and you're a nice person too. But the reason I was
thank
calling.
you so much. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. The reason I was calling is, wow, I can't believe, is that true about BLM hair and makeup? I'm lucky I get the Great Clips once a month with a coupon. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Robert.
I know.
Well, you're not the public face of Chicago. It's
I
different.
mean, he's going to Hollywood. He's meeting with celebrities. He's got an all while having a black wife and raising 3 black kids on the west side of Chicago.
I think he's raising all 4 of them. Didn't he say that? Isn't he raising the wife and the 3 kids? Maybe I'll get that
What's her name even?
that pointy thing that Brandon Johnson does. I kind of like that actually. I wonder if I could pull that off.
Yeah, you know what? That would, look, if you cut the back, but you've got to cut that. You can easily cut like 3 inches off your hair right now.
No, I'm gonna let it grow out.
Can I bring in scissors tomorrow?
Rich in Indian Head Park.
Play hair.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. For $30,000, Brandon Johnson should look like Denzel Washington. Thanks, basically.
Thanks, Rich. Len in Highland Park.
I can assure you of one thing. There's not a hairstylist or a makeup artist that is anywhere on this planet that could make Lightfoot attractive.
Well, you could tell when she get like inauguration day, she looked really good. That was the best hair and makeup.
Yeah, she went.
No, Amy.
Yes,
no,
she's hot like Michelle Obama.
Yeah, gorgeous.
There's not a day in her life that would make her look good. If it was 2 a.m, I was hammered, and at the bar, I would pass.
Thanks for the call. Then she's just got to wait till that Shirley Hemphill look comes back into style.
It'll come back. It always swings around.
Yeah, we'll have another run of what's happening here before too long.
Maybe now that she's working for Dalton, she and Tiffany Henyard, or what? Yeah, I'm saying her name right.
Well, Tiffany Henyard has I suspect that she has a stylist
with her
budget that dwarfs BLM Brandon's.
Oh yeah, she's got a stylist.
Because she's got the clothes in addition to the hair and makeup.
Oh yeah, hair and makeup, clothes, mani-pedis, plus her security detail, plus SUV. I mean, she's got to go.
Well,
on.
let's just talk about image budgets first. Yes. Get into the security details because then that would swing back in the direction of the mayor of Chicago. Gabby in Schaumburg.
Hi, good morning, guys. I just wanted to be the first to out the mayor. I think he's on the DL because no straight man spends that kind of money on his hair and makeup. My husband would have had a budget of about $12 to take care of all that stuff. That's all I got to say. I think we're outing the mayor.
Thanks for the call,
it's
Gabby.
frivolous spending. I mean, it just shows that he's reckless with other people's money.
Bruce Jenner probably spends that much money on hair and makeup.
Honestly,
he's a dude.
Yeah.
Sorts.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one. Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome to Face the Music, sponsored by Fox Valley Coins in Naperville. Today's guest, President Ronald Reagan. Sir, would you mind sharing some golden lines from your past debates and presidency?
Before I refuse to take your questions, I have an opening statement. I have left orders to be awakened at any time in case of a national emergency, even if I'm in a cabinet meeting.
Mr. President, should age enter into the debate?
Thomas Jefferson once said, "We should never judge a president by his age, only by his works." Ever since he told me that, I stopped worrying about age.
Thank you, Mr. President. Remember, Face the Music is brought to you by the great Americans at Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville, Illinois. They are the leader of buying and selling old coins and paper money, as well as all forms of gold and silver.
Whew, this interview wore me out. It's bedtime for Bonzo.
Face the Music was sponsored by the great Americans of Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville. No real or artificial intelligence was used in the making of this ad.
Celebrity voices are impersonated.
All right. Guess what? It's coming June 19th at the McRae Golf Club in Barrington, our annual AM 560 golf outing. Proceeds go to Tunnel to Towers. And our listeners know that this is a great organization. They help care for the families of fallen first responders and homeless vets. Business owners who purchase a foursome can receive the marketing schedule on AM 560. It is a tremendous deal and a great way to reach out to this audience of affluent, influential decision makers. So if you've considered advertising on radio, this is a great way to try it out before making a long-term commitment. We'll give you 25 one-minute commercials. We have availability in the morning, the 7:30 a.m. shotgun, and in the afternoon at 1 p.m. And it's going to be great. We're going to have a silent auction, a buffet lunch for the morning golfers, and a buffet dinner for the afternoon golfers with a boxed lunch. Reserve a foursome today. Only a few spots left. It's a great day. It's a fun day. 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf.
You're in an auto accident. It's a big, unwelcome disruption in your life. To make it worse, the insurance company is being ridiculous. Injuries are involved. Damages are involved.
SettlementYouDeserve.com.
It's time.
SettlementYouDeserve.com.
Salvi Law. Michael and Samantha Salvi. It's a family law firm that will personally work hard for you to get you guessed it, the settlement you deserve. For auto accidents, you work on getting your life back and let Salvi Law get you the settlement you deserve. Experienced, trustworthy, and like a family friend that knows the law. Salvi Law gets you the settlement you deserve. Medical malpractice problem? Contact Salvi.
SettlementYouDeserve.com.
SettlementYouDeserve.com.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Nature is quite the artist, wouldn't you agree? The pigments that nature uses to paint its fruits and vegetables aren't there just for visual appeal. Those colorings are also essential to our nutrition. Hi, my name is Vincent Clemens, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I found that the vast majority of my clients rarely got enough servings of fruits and vegetables. Balance of Nature dietary supplements can provide more of the concentrated fruit and vegetable ingredients and these pigments. Please remember that consuming a balanced diet should be your first priority in improving your health. Nonetheless, if you're considering a nutritional supplement, then I highly recommend Balance of Nature.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last as a preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, always on the lookout for new comedians. Ben Bankus, I haven't heard of him before, but I caught a clip of his, and he's coming to town. I think he's going to be at the Rosemont Theater on August 8th. It could be another counterculture comedian, which would be fun. Listen to Ben Bankus on racism. The charge that America was built on racism. Mm-hmm. Charge of the left. Nothing like leaning into it.
You know how like our country's falling apart, and then they're like, the woke people are like, "Oh, this country was built on racism." It's like maybe we should do more of that. maybe that was working. You guys like the railroad? Wasn't built by the LGBTs, I'll tell you that.
So he'll probably be protested and canceled at Rosemont. He won't be able to provide for security. Like, you saw Michael Rappaport got a show canceled in Batavia because they were afraid of over security concerns because he's, supports Israel's right to defend itself. I mean, not that I have much sympathy for Rappaport because he's an obnoxious leftist until he got mugged by reality on October 7th.
Left are eating their own.
But, and not to mention he got mugged by the reality of the crime-ridden streets of New York, too. But, it's just really a sign of the times watching Michael Rappaport get cannibalized, as you say. But, so anyway, more counterculture comedians maybe coming to the fore. I'd like to hear more from Ben Bankus. Maybe I'll take in the show, again, if it's not canceled.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk about those EU elections and the rise of the populist right in Western Europe with Freddie Gray from The Spectator at 7:07.
And later we will do another reason why Dan Proft is single. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Chicago aldermen approve a quiet zone around the West Loop abortion clinic. 3 deputies and a suspect are shot in Dixon. The ex-Madigan chief of staff, Tim Mapes, reports to federal prison, and a Lake County man charged with lying on his FOID application. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
They have a lot on their agenda. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden and other world leaders meeting now at the G7 summit in Italy.
Ceasefire talks in Gaza, Russia's war on Ukraine, trade imbalances with China, AI threats, and then developmental issues in Africa.
And Fox's Peter Doocy. President Biden will also meet with Ukraine's President Zelensky and sign a security agreement. There's also a NATO meeting.
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is in Brussels with counterparts from more than 50 nations, and air defense for Ukraine is high on the agenda. Not all NATO members are fully on board. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban is close to Russian President Vladimir Putin. The Hungarians say they won't contribute to Ukraine's defense, but they won't block NATO allies from helping either.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. President Biden's border executive order is being challenged in court. The ACLU and others allege that his attempts to limit asylum are illegal and similar to Trump policies. Meanwhile, a Homeland Security Inspector General report obtained by Fox concludes the government is not effectively screening and vetting migrants entering the U.S. illegally. This after 8 terror suspects in the country illegally were arrested. Republican Senator Tom Cotton tells Fox.
This is, in effect, a ticking time bomb, that a border is wide open and that terrorists from all around the world could come here and plot attacks against the American people.
Cotton and other Senate Republicans will meet with former President Trump today in his first trip to the Capitol since the infamous January 6th riot. He'll meet with House Republicans first next hour. Yet another campus protest got ugly overnight in Los Angeles.
A peaceful Gaza solidarity encampment suddenly turned up the heat at Cal State. Up to 100 pro-Palestinian protesters took over the Student Services building, vandalizing windows, blocking exits, stranding administrators and employees, including the university president, reportedly for hours.
That's Fox's Chanley Painter. America's listening to Fox News.
7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. We have 73 degrees, partly sunny skies this morning. A man walking on the city's north side was shot. Chicago police say it happened around 12:53 a.m. in the 1600 block of Astor in the Gold Coast neighborhood. There is no one in custody. 3 children and 2 adults hospitalized Wednesday. They had critical injuries following a multi-vehicle crash involving a bicycle on Chicago's north side. State police investigating after Ogle County Sheriff's deputies were shot in Dixon. The Ogle County Sheriff, Brian Van Vickle, says they received a call yesterday from a homeowner claiming her adult son was having suicidal and homicidal thoughts.
We requested the state police conduct the investigation into the officer-involved shooting, and they will be handling the investigation from this point on.
2 of the deputies hit by gunfire have since been released this morning from the hospital. No one hurt after a semi crashes into an apartment building in Morris. The incident happened yesterday near I-80 and Annie Lane. Illinois State Police are investigating. Chicago aldermen are signing off on a quiet zone ordinance that may run afoul of the U.S. Supreme Court. The controversial buffer zone is tied to an abortion clinic in the West Loop.
It will incite Christians to come and minister and provide resources to these mothers and fathers because they have a choice here.
Pro-abortion City Council member Bill Conway pushed that measure that establishes the so-called quiet zone.
I am trying to find the best way to help women access health care without the harassment that they regularly face at this location. And I firmly believe that this very constitutional measure will enable that to happen.
The City Council voting 41-4 yesterday to pass that ordinance that had been stalled twice by pro-life City Council members. Cubs 4-3 winners over the Rays at Tropicana Field. Seiya Suzuki and Cody Bellinger each win deep, while the White Sox lost 2-1 to Seattle. They tied that game in the top of the ninth when Luis Robert Jr. hit a solo home run, but Steven Wilson surrendered a walk-off single in the bottom of the 10th in a 2-1 White Sox loss. Another major championship is up for grabs when the U.S. Open tees off today from Pinehurst in North Carolina. Odds-on favorites, Scottie Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, and Rory McIlroy. Another good bet. Will they chip or will they putt? Greens are brutal this week. News is powered by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping the lights on when unexpected storms cause loss of power at your business. Get help quickly at CharlesEquipment.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka wants you to get involved.
To win the election, we absolutely must. Everything is at stake. The planet as we know it, our democracy.
This is not your grandfather's, even your father's Democrat Party. It's lunatics, it's radicals, it's people who hate America, and we must save the nation from them. How? Get engaged.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert, and I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit, 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Donna. I love gardening. I love to go on walks with my husband and my dog, and I love taking Balance of Nature. It makes me feel sparkly every single day. It's just an amazing product. I'm 56, but I feel 21. I feel so much alive. Balance of Nature is magic in a bottle, and I really love it.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:07, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars, coins, silver dollars, rare date, proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. Kennedy inbound 52. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Right now, the outbound side is 36 back out to the big airport. The ICANN, not so bad. 45 now into the old post office. You are jammed up 17th through Pulaski. Dan Ryan, locals are slow inbound between 51st and the Circle. Tri-State jamming at I-88 all the way to the Ike merge. And an exit ramp accident is cleared along 8094 on the off-ramp to Grant Street. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Today, sun and clouds. It'll be breezy and hot. A strong thunderstorm for the afternoon. We could pick up some hail and damaging wind. The high at 90. Strong thunderstorm early this evening, then partly cloudy. Low tonight, 66. Sunny, pleasant, less humid day tomorrow. The high 81. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Seeing some pop-up thunderstorms in McHenry County this morning. Watch out for that. 74 right now at O'Hare. Your next news update, 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So in the recently concluded EU elections, socialists in Western Europe really took it on the chin, and it has that grade school drama teacher to the north of us, who the Canadians made their prime minister, a little worried about his future.
We have seen around the world a rise of populist right-wing forces in just about every democracy that we've seen. And it is of concern to see political parties choosing to instrumentalize anger, fear, division, anxiety. My approach has always been to respond to it, to understand it, and to look to solve it, to roll up our sleeves, work hard, and with ambition for this country and for our future. And I continue to be convinced that Canadians are thoughtful about the challenges we're facing and ready to see them solved, rather than just allow themselves to be have their anger amplified without any solutions offered.
More sleeve rolling, that's what's required, as per usual. Yeah, put in the work. That's interesting rhetoric coming from somebody who behaved like a totalitarian despot for 3 years during COVID, and just generally speaking. But he is right to be concerned, because Pierre Poilievre is coming for him in the next election up there as well. For more on what came to pass in Germany, France, Belgium, pleased to be joined by Freddie Gray, who is the deputy editor of The Spectator and host of the Americano podcast. Freddie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hello, Dan Amy. Lovely to be with you.
Good to have you. And pretty, at least surprising to some, I saw some tears flowing in Brussels. So the leftist heads of state were not expecting what the electorate delivered in places like France and Germany and Belgium.
Well, they don't seem to have been expecting it, which sort of shows how pig-headed and stupid they are, because the polls clearly indicated that these right-wing parties were going to do very well. The European media all insists on lumping them all together as far-right. There are far-right parties in Europe. Even by my pretty right-wing standards, there are parties in Europe I consider far-right. But most of them, including Le Pen, which obviously her movement, or National Rally it's called now, but it comes from the National Front, and it has, Vichyite, faintly fascist, certainly anti-Semitic origins. But nowadays, it's very similar to the Trump movement in what it stands for and what it believes in.
Well, interestingly,
and it's very, very popular.
Well, interestingly too, I mean, just specific to France and that National Rally party, Jordan Bardella, this 28-year-old who's the new party leader, That sort of speaks to a changing of the guard, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, Marine Le Pen is still the boss, but Bardella is the great star of the party. And so what happened on Sunday night was that we had these European elections. Macron, the French president, was completely embarrassed and humiliated by them. They did much worse than even the most negative polls predicted. And he called this snap election, a parliamentary election. It's worth remembering about Europe, by the way, that these parliamentary elections, they sound important, but they're not. They're really just a very convincing opinion poll because the European Parliament has quite limited powers. But Macron then called it a real election in France, a parliamentary election in France. It won't remove him from power, but it's like a congressional election would be the comparison in America. He looks as though he's going to lose it pretty badly. But the theory is that his plan, his tactic, is to bring the National Rally, bring Marine Le Pen's lot into power, and then asphyxiate them from there. And he can do that in lots of ways. He can, perhaps prove that they are incapable of governing, or he can, France's Interior Minister today is suggesting that Marine Le Pen would cause an economic crash as soon as they had any role in government. And so there's quite a sort of Project Fear that could happen should Marine Le Pen come into government. It'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. We have a piece in The Spectator this week, my magazine, saying that actually Macron thinks he may be playing a very clever game, but really the problem is he's been completely outflanked and his popularity now is shot because the French economy is already in a terrible state. Immigration is a huge concern for lots of.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. What's the number one issue motivating this?
It's immigration overall, but obviously in the last few years it's been the cost of living crisis and what we call inflation poison, which is poisoning governments everywhere. I think we see it with Joe Biden, even though he keeps insisting that it's not, that it's under control. I think Americans don't feel that way. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
More beautiful lies. Yes.
Well, but
inflation in Britain has been very bad, and Europe obviously it's affected it too, and the cost of living crisis has been bad there too. So, but that's the more immediate problem. The bigger problem, and what really drives the growth of these parties, because these parties have been growing. You look at Meloni in Italy, you look at the AfD in Germany, who came second but ahead of the governing party. The issue that drives all of these parties is immigration, and it's a great concern about huge waves of immigration that have happened in the last 20 years, and the failure of the ruling class, the governing classes, to protect their electorates from the social, economic, economic's debatable, I suppose, but social and criminal costs. The crime waves that have happened in certain parts of Europe are connected to immigration, and there's no point denying it.
Everyone I talk to who's been to London recently, and I have not, says, there's no British left. And it's basically the realization, you mentioned the last 20 years or 30 years of the Western Europe promoting multiculturalism, which, sounds very lovely in concept, but I mean, it just sort of was a fancy way of saying open borders. And now you're at a place where it's very difficult to sort of reset the table, and so the only thing to do is for the electorate to revolt against what they engendered, I guess.
Well, yes. I mean, to take the British example, a lot of people feel very angry about immigration levels. And just in the last 2 years, we've imported 700,000 people. And for a country the size of Britain, that's an awful... Sorry, last year we imported 700,000 people. The year before we imported slightly less, but about 1.5 million in the last 2 years. That's a huge number of people for a country of our size. It's like one of our more significant cities, like Coventry. The population is that. So trying to sort of accommodate, house, find schooling, find hospital places and so on for all these people is incredibly difficult. And the economic argument for it is, of course, that it helps drive down inflation because of labour and so on. And cheaper labour means lower inflation. But it doesn't make any sense in terms of social living in Britain or living, in Britain, particularly in the cities. And I mean, we have this party, Reform, which would be the sort of equivalent of, perhaps not the equivalent of Le Pen, but maybe more like an equivalent of Meloni in Italy. And they are now campaigning quite vigorously in this election. They stand to do very well, but they won't win many seats because of our peculiar parliamentary system.
But I mean, in Britain, in Britain, I mean, Sunak and the Conservatives are going to take a hammering, and it'll be perceived as, but by the leftist press corps, it'll be perceived as, oh well, they've stemmed the tide of right wing populism. But no, that's just punishing the Conservative Party, the Tories, therefore being basically being leftists. Sunak and Conservatives in Britain have, going back to Boris Johnson, have made a mess of it.
Quite exactly that. And I mean, I think a lot of people, polling suggests a lot of people actually trust Labour to handle immigration better than the Tories. And so all the things that the Tories are supposed to be good on, like the economy, borders, national defence, all these things, everybody has given up on the Conservatives. Well, not everybody, but the large majority of the British public have given up on the Conservative Party on those subjects. And they're going back towards Labour, because Labour's historically been a very strong party in Britain. So we're going left electorally as Europe goes right. But we might just be in a different phase, because actually if you look at what's going on the right, there's a crisis on the right, and out of that we expect, a lot of people expect, a more sort of reformer, more populist, I don't like the word, but a more populist, if you like, right to emerge.
In his 2019 book, The Return of the Strong Gods, the editor of First Things, Rusty Reno, argued that the West was moving away from its post-World War II consensus against the ties that bind a free people and back to what he called the strong gods of Western Christian civilization, like truth and patriotism and sovereignty and honor. Now, that was in 2019, so that's before COVID. I don't know if that would change Rusty's outlook based on the performance of the West during COVID. But do you see what happened this past week in those EU elections as sort of the return of the strong gods, small g, that Rusty Reno was talking about? Or is this just sort of a temporary tantrum reaction to what the left has done in the short term?
I don't think it's temporary at all. I think it's much more what Rusty Reno is talking about. I'd say, but it has to be understood that it's not a sort of return to kind of patriarchal honor in any sense, because if you look at a lot of these leaders, they're women. And in fact, it's interesting that it has to be a woman who pushes these movements forwards in France or Italy or Germany, indeed. All these parties are led by women, because men spouting very right-wing opinions tend to be sort of deemed toxic very quickly. And so I wonder where the kind
Except in Argentina. Yeah.
Except in Argentina, yeah, quite right. But I wonder where the kind of post-Thatcher will come from for Britain. I don't know. I don't know where it will be. But it certainly, I'd say it's much more substantial than just a sort of tantrum reaction. I think there is a movement that's been building up for decades now, and it's finally expressing it. France is an interesting one. I know a bit about this because my mother is French, and I talk to my French family a lot. But they are very conservative, very concerned about immigration and so on. But for a long time, they would never vote for Le Pen because of the old associations of her party, which were quite nasty.
Right.
And also because it was, I mean, without wanting to, it was sort of seen as they're not snobs, but it was very much the sort of, it was the working class, rural working classes voted for Le Pen, the angry rural working classes. And so they didn't vote for him. But in recent years, they've started to change their minds a bit, and particularly with Macron, who they hate. And the French are incredibly united now in their loathing of Macron. They will. They may well find the motivation to vote for Le Pen.
So I mean, the Brexit movement from 2015 forward. I mean, this is a slow, rolling revolt that's had some fits and starts, but continues. Is that how you describe Western Europe?
Yes, I think so. And obviously, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I think there's a lot of that that going on. But I mean, Brexit at the moment looks like a terrible failure because none of the kind of promises that the people who campaigned for Brexit made have worked. Nigel Farage, who's the sort of leader of the British Brexit movement in many ways, he says repeatedly that Brexit is a failure. That doesn't mean he thinks we should go back and undo it, but he thinks that our political class have proved themselves incapable of delivering the opportunities that Brexit offered, which was Britain having its own place in the world outside of the European Union. It's a big debate in Britain, but I wonder, a lot of people think when Labour come in, even though Keir Starmer has said he doesn't want to do this, a lot of people think that the Labour Party will try and put Britain back into the European Union. And it'll be very interesting to see what they do.
Freddie Gray is the deputy editor of The Spectator and host of the Americano podcast. Freddie, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Great pleasure as ever.
Thank you. And
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I think I'm going to do it early. I'm going to get out my 6 capsules of Balance of Nature and let the fun begin. Hi, Amy Jacobson here. And as you know, I've been a big Balance of Nature enthusiast for more than 10 years. I love it because I'm not getting enough fruits and veggies on my own. And that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 6 capsules a day. You're getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. And when you crack those capsules open, you can smell the fruits, you can smell the vegetables. And if you're ever hungry during the day, I just grab one of those fruit capsules and chew on that rather than grab a sweet. So be one of the cool kids and order your bottles of fruits and veggie supplements today. 800-246-8751. 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago or go online to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text TRADE to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text TRADE to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text TRADE to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text TRADE to 76626.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free. explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, so...
Do we have time for Why Dan Proft is single?
No, we'll do that later. At 7:37, we're going to talk to Lieutenant Colonel Larry Brock, who has an American nightmare story from January 6th that we played that clip on Monday that was unearthed of Nancy Pelosi on J6 in her vehicle as she's fleeing the Capitol, talking to her chief of staff.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean, the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
No, that is not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
I take responsibility, says Nancy Pelosi, who ultimately bore the brunt of the responsibility for the failure to properly plan and secure the Capitol on that day, were Americans like Lieutenant Colonel Larry Brock, that is, if you're to believe his story of what happened to him on what he did on January 6th and what happened to him subsequently as a target of law enforcement. We'll hear his story at 7:37.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Is that man still jogging on the Kennedy, Mike Scott?
Long gone.
Okay.
Got his 10-miler in for the
yeah.
morning.
He's all ready for the half marathon.
Stretched. Got his foam roll out, and he's on his way to his favorite barista for a morning along LaSalle Street. He's
right,
done.
and then he'll report to the water department about 11 a.m., cut out about 2 p.m., and
then do some illegal campaigning, yeah.
And then do some wrought iron fencing on the side. 7:30 on AM 560, The Answer. President Biden is in Italy, joining world leaders there for the G7 summit, being watched by Fox News reporter Jonathan Savage.
The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, has been invited along by host Italy. He'll meet President Biden on the sidelines of the summit, the two men signing an agreement pledging long-lasting U.S. support for Ukraine. The White House sees the agreement as a signal to Russia's Vladimir Putin that he can't outlast Ukraine and its allies. The G7 will also send a message to China, the leaders looking to unite against Beijing's political and economic ambitions, but some anxious to avoid an all-out trade war. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declaring a state of emergency in 5 southern counties due to severe flooding there, the governor urging residents to seek higher ground. A New Jersey appeals court has ruled that warrantless police searches of locked glove boxes and other compartments inside of a car are covered under the law. Court ruling that searching a locked glove box during a warrantless search could be less intrusive than impounding the car while police obtain a search warrant. Man was walking on the city's north side when he was shot this morning. Chicago police tell us it happened around 1 a.m. in the 1600 block of Astor in the Gold Coast neighborhood. State police continue investigating after 3 Ogle County Sheriff's deputies were shot in Dixon. Ogle County Sheriff Brian Van Vickle saying they received a call from a mother, a homeowner, claiming her adult son was having suicidal and homicidal thoughts. 3 deputies and the suspect, identified as Jonathan Goneris, were hit by gunfire after deputies entered the home. We've heard this morning 2 of those deputies have since been released from the hospital. An expected plea deal from a former Chicago public school dean charged with sexually assaulting a student was vacated on Wednesday amid a discrepancy in the terms of the sentencing. Brian Crowder began to plead guilty to charges but walked back that decision in court before the judge could sign off due to confusion over the length of time that he would be required to register as a sex offender.
Child sex offenders have the highest recidivism rates.
And that's why it's important that you don't just put him on as a sex offender for 10 years. But, we'll be back in court in August, and we hope that he will accept responsibility for the crimes committed, and that there will be some closure for this victim, at least in this part of the case.
Attorney Martin Gould, Crowder was charged, you may recall, 2 years ago after a former student, now 25, alleged she was groomed and then sexually abused while she was a student at Little Village's Lawndale High School. The woman attended that school between 2013 and 2016. Cubs over the Rays 4-3 at Tropicana Field, while the White Sox lost to Seattle 2-1. Stanley Cup Finals make their first stop north of the border tonight. The Oilers battling the Panthers. Game 3 is in Edmonton. The news, a service of Windy City Safes. What are you doing to keep your most prized possessions safe? Windy City Safes is Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit the Nile showroom, call 224-LOCKBOX, or online at windycitysafes.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees good numbers for Trump.
The Real Clear Politics average of polling says it may even be a landslide. And I don't know if we dare use the L word this far out, but my gosh, because everything is pointing towards a Trump victory if Joe Biden is his opponent.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Let me ask you this. Are you not able to enjoy this summer as much as you want because of joint pain? Well, this is the best time for being outdoors, but not if your knees, shoulders, back, or hips are hurting. Hey, it's Amy Jacobson, and don't suffer any longer. Non-surgical joint pain relief is here from our good friends at QC Kinetics. Call them today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. QC Kinetics advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Walk, run, hike, play golf, move again pain-free. So stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. They're open on Saturdays, now with new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Navage, available at Navage.com.
7:36. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Hot air roasted locally, cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. PapaNicholas.com. Kennedy at 55 minutes, O'Hare into the Burn Circle interchange. The Ike outbound jammed up between Cicero and Des Plaines Avenue. Inbound Stevenson solid between Harlem and Kedzie. Tri-State northbound jams up between Roosevelt and the Ike due to a slow ramp to the outbound Eisenhower I-80. That accident, multi-vehicle collision eastbound at Cherry Hill. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Hot with a afternoon strong thunderstorm possible, a high near 90. Tonight, more storms and a low of 66. Right now at O'Hare, partly sunny and 75. Your next news update is at 8, and Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Juror number 10, who was making the media rounds yesterday, juror number 10 in the Hunter Biden trial, had something interesting to say to Katie Tour from MSNBC, Keith Olbermann's old gal pal.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're such a cute couple.
Oh,
they?
gorgeous.
I was so devastated when they broke up.
Me too. I
was in bed for days.
was hoping those kids would make it. But anyway, juror number 10 on whether he believes in the justice of the justice system. And again, responding to a very stilted question, as you might expect from Katie Tour, rehearsing the talking points you'll be hearing from the Biden campaign for the next 5 months.
You've just done something that is integral to the way this country works, the way our democracy works. You sat in a jury and you rendered a verdict based on the evidence that was presented to you. President Biden today, and this is how we started our show, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. President Biden today said he would accept this verdict and that he wouldn't pardon his son. It's in contrast to the way that former President Trump has been talking about the criminal, or just the U.S. justice system, period, and the DOJ. Do you have confidence after this experience that U.S. courts are fair and that every man is treated equally under the law?
Sitting on this trial, and it's the first trial that I sat on, I would say yes. The system does work.
That's the headwind you're running into.
Right.
The default position is to give the system the benefit of the doubt by, I would say, most Americans, particularly those in the middle, not paying a lot of attention to the details of Trump's prosecutions, some of the J6 prosecutions, which we'll get to. And they subscribe to the aphorisms that have been repeated to them all their lives. No one is above the law.
Yeah, and they're using this
to respect the jury's verdict.
Yeah, they're using the Hunter Biden verdict as to say, see Trump and all Trump supporters, the system isn't corrupt.
Right.
They're doing their job, and you're going to hear that over and over and over again. And by the way, Biden, who said he's not going to pardon his son, he could always commute his sentence.
We'll see what
I think is still on the table.
We'll see what a sentence is. Yeah, well, KJP wouldn't deny it. It's sort of a minor point because none of this is going to transpire until after the election. Lieutenant Colonel Larry Brock may have a different opinion about the justice system. He's a retired lieutenant colonel for the U.S. Air Force, and he has recently been released from federal prison after being convicted of nonviolent charges related to his presence at the Capitol on January 6th. He wrote in detail about it at Julie Kelly's Substack, Declassified. He joins us now. Lieutenant Colonel Brock, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
So tell us, I mean, in summary, as you provided at Julie Kelly's Substack, in summary, you went to the Capitol on January 6th for what reason and did what before you returned home to Dallas?
Well, on January 6th, I went there because the president asked us to come and support him, and I truly believed I was going to be there on a historic day because I had hoped, as most Americans did, that Vice President Pence would exercise his authority and send the vote back to the states as he was legally entitled to do. Following the rally that President Trump had in the Ellipse, I walked up to the Capitol, crossed no fencing, went through no barriers, walked right past full Capitol policemen on my way into the open doors into the Capitol. While in there, I walked around, took pictures, took selfies. And unfortunately for me, I picked up a pair of zip ties that had been abandoned by the Capitol Police, and that was used against me. I was actually seen on tape protecting Capitol Police Officer Nairobi Timberlake, who testified on the stand that I had assisted him. And then as I was leaving the Capitol, I protected the police that were keeping a man that was aggressively confronting them out of the door. So those are the things that I did when I was in the Capitol. And for that, from the D.C. Circuit, I received a 2-year felony charge for obstructing Congress, which will hopefully be overturned today. But as to my opinion of the justice system, I made that clear. I mean, if you think about it, 4 communists walked free from the courtrooms of Nazi Germany, yet only 2 J6 patriots have walked free from the D.C. courtroom. It is clearly weaponized beyond all recognition, and there's absolutely 2 tiers. You see it every single day. Just yesterday, we saw Merrick Garland, his DOJ, saying that he doesn't have to answer to a congressional subpoena. What is going on with this country right now is reprehensible.
So, Larry,
there's
let me get
only
this.
one man that can change it.
Yeah, I'm sorry for interrupting, but you didn't break anything, you didn't smash anything, you didn't rummage, sit
No,
at
ma'am.
anybody's desk and rummage through their desk.
No, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I'm on tape telling a guy to get out of the vice president's chair. I'm on tape there was a man that was trying to take a note out of Senator Romney's desk, and I told him not to do that. Just take a picture and leave the note if he had to do anything. I'm on tape, saying be respectful. I didn't do any of those things, and yet I find myself a convicted felon after years of service to the country. Now, hopefully that will be overturned by the Supreme Court today.
You're talking about the 1512.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, felony charge, interrupting a official proceeding. When you write in your recounting of what you did, when I decided to leave after what you just described yourself doing, I approached an officer, asked him where the nearest exit was. He told me he would escort me there, and we walked side by side talking to the exit.
Yes.
Then you talked about you stopped a man from confronting police, and all of this is on video. So then you leave. You probably think nothing of what you did on that day. You go back to Dallas, and then what happens?
Well, I got to be honest with you. As soon as I turned the news on that night and I saw the way they were describing it, I saw Mitch McConnell join the Democrats in calling it an insurrection. I knew it was going to get bad. So I went back to Dallas and I got ready because I assumed at best the FBI was going to call and speak with me, and at worst I was probably going to be arrested. So I prepared myself financially as much as I could for that by moving some money and doing different things.
Well, why did you think you were going to? Well, you didn't even contact with the FBI yet. Why did you think you were going to be arrested?
Just you could see the way it was going, and you could see what the media was saying, that the hurricane was beginning. You heard things like insurrection, worst thing since Pearl Harbor. I honestly believed it was going to get pretty bad, and it did. I was hoping that justice would actually see what I did, but they were so busy spinning the narrative that I had carried flex cuffs into the Capitol to hurt the vice president or to hurt other legislators that I was pretty sure I was going to get arrested.
Did you believe you did anything illegal on that day?
No, I actually don't, because I believe that, and I hope the time will show once we get control of government facial recognition software, that there were federal agents that removed the fencing, removed the barriers. Now, the doors that I went through had been kicked open by 2 other protesters, but I didn't see that. I was down below, and you can't see that. So, no, when I walked into the building, I didn't think I had done anything wrong. In hindsight, the one thing I am certain I'm guilty of is trespassing. It is a government building, and as a government guy, I should have known not to go in there. But that's a $50 fine, and I believe a Class B misdemeanor. That's certainly not a felony, destruction of your life, being sentenced to a federal prison for 2 years. What I did does not merit the punishment that I got, but unfortunately, a district judge in D.C. thought differently.
So after a few days, you said you wrote an article on the Substack that a friend came over and comforted you for a few days until you drove to surrender yourself to the FBI. What was that process like?
Well, okay, so they had my phone number on Friday, but they chose not to call me until a Sunday. And the reason they waited is they were actually trying to stage, I'm going to call it a show arrest. And I know that because my nephew saw an FBI SWAT team staging in an elementary school near where my father was. I actually went and stayed the weekend with him because I was receiving death threats. And he lives inside a gated community, and I knew I would be safer there. But initially, the FBI had told me they just wanted to talk to me. And so I dropped my friend off, and then I was driving to the meeting where they just wanted to speak, and my attorney called me and told me that, hey, they just issued a warrant for your arrest. So rather than wait, I just went ahead and turned myself in because the FBI, it's who they are. They like show trials. They like publicity. They like to do a lot of things that they think will make the FBI look good. And so I surrendered an hour early. And sure enough, an hour later, the media was there en masse. And I know that because my nieces came and picked up my truck. And that was the media was there when they were picking up the truck.
Were you denied bond until your trial?
No. Well, it works slightly differently. I was sent to Parker County Jail. I spent the night in Grapevine, which I was thankful for because the Grapevine jailers provided me a Bible. They were quite kind. Then I was arraigned the following day and then kept in custody until a federal judge in Fort Worth, Texas, decided to release me to house arrest. So I wore a GPS anklet for the next 7 months. I call them Biden manacles now. And so I'm going to call it release, not on bond, but I mean, it was severe house arrest. The only time I could leave was to go to church or medical care or employment. But, my employment ceased. I was in the process of learning to do something else. So I finished that, and then they let me start working again.
So you were originally charged with 2 misdemeanors, and then they added that felony charge of obstructing an official proceeding. Is that the flow?
Well, I think it was 5 or possibly even 6 misdemeanors initially, and then they added the felony, I believe, in June of 2021. And I'm not quite sure why I got singled out for that. There were lots of people inside that building, but as I said, I believe I'm very high on their enemies list. They don't really like white Southern males who were in the military.
Well, and so the felony charge is key here, because it rises to the level past, sort of criminal trespass misdemeanor. So they make out the felony case of obstructing an official proceeding by caricaturing you as an insurrectionist, that you were there to potentially harm the vice president, the zip ties, to obstruct the official proceeding. And they use, from your account, as evidence to sort of make the case that you were there to be disruptive, a military patch and a book and a discussion about a book you read and a discussion about that book with a friend. Is that right?
Okay, that is correct. I did wear body armor. Now, I know it sounds crazy, and honestly, in hindsight, you should never really go to anywhere where you're going to need body armor. But in October and November, I believe, it might have been November and December, there were 2 separate rallies to stop the steal, and BLM and Antifa had attacked Trump supporters at those rallies. Also, I had spent I'd say the last 3 or 4 years of my life in either Afghanistan or Iraq as a private defense contractor, and it was pretty routine to wear body armor due to occasionally being rocketed or, if the threat was higher. But back to your question. So they didn't like the fact that I had on military body armor. I was a military guy. We like patches, and the patches I wore that day were a Punisher logo, which is a symbol of an Iraq and Iran war veteran, my pilot wings and name tag from one of the squadrons I was in, and then another patch that commemorates a group of men that fought in Vietnam. So they didn't like that. Now, the conversation that I had with... Well,
wait, but before we get to the book, the Punisher patch, how that's characterized in a particular way that's important.
It is. The FBI agent on the stand testified that it was a symbol of my commitment to vigilante justice. And anybody that knows the Punisher cartoon or the Punisher comic book, that is true. That is what he does. However, as Chris Kyle in American Sniper. Many Americans have seen that. And honestly, if you just probably look around, even in Chicago, you will see Punisher logos on the back of vehicles or on T-shirts that people wear frequently. And it has been adopted by Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans as our unofficial symbol. It's kind of a way of letting each other know, hey, I was there. I used to have the sticker of it on the back of my truck, and I will probably put one back now that this maelstrom is receding.
All right.
Now,
Now,
so you
now
did-
wait. Now the book in your discussion with the colleague.
Okay. I was reading a book called Adjustment Day. It's by Chuck Palahniuk, and I apologize if I butchered his name. But in that book, there is a very farcical takedown of the U.S. government. It's ridiculous. And so one of the things that I wish the American public knew is, men like myself and this Green Beret, who was also a field grade officer, we're trained to think about how can we break countries? How can we win our country's wars? For years, I mean, there are colleges, Air War College, where you practice these type of things and you think about them. So because it was so stupid, I was like, I wonder if it even could be done. So it was really a thought experiment on, can we actually do this? And you can't. It is impossible for the reasons that I cited in the article I wrote for Julie Kelly. There's too much defense in depth, too many centers of gravity, and it's impossible to really overthrow this government in any way unless there were states and state governors that would employ actual military force. It can't be done, and nor do we really want it done. But it was at the end of the conversation, we were like, it is amazing that the American Revolution was even successful. And jokingly, I said, if only King George had the FBI, then the revolution would not have succeeded. We would still be drinking tea, playing soccer, and singing "God Save the King."
And so they used that because that chat occurred on social media. They used that against you in court to essentially argue that this is an example of of his attitude, that he was attempting to disrupt and engage in some sort of insurrection against the federal government. But I mean, they presented no evidence of any planning you did. You didn't do any planning. There was no serious organization. You didn't talk to anybody else about coordinating anything on January 6th. So was it literally, that was the case in chief on the felony charge of the prosecution, the patch, the book, and that conversation about the book? Was that it?
Yes, sir. That was it. And honestly, it's a little galling because getting back to your original question about the rule of law and the weaponization of our justice system, I always believed that you were judged criminally in the United States for your actions and not your thoughts. And my actions on that day were completely peaceful, and my thoughts that day were to protect people. And so to be judged on the basis of what I believe to be constitutionally protected free speech between two private individuals, it's a little tough to swallow.
Wow. So after you had a bench trial, no jury, and he read some of your social media posts, and then what happened? You were in, because he wanted 5 years, but then just tell us how it ended.
Prosecution wanted 6.
Yeah, the prosecution wanted 6. Based off of character references and years of service to the country, honestly, I think the letter from a major general and another letter from a friend that described local charities I was involved with and things that they had observed me personally doing, and the letter from the major general saying, hey, this guy risked his life in a crazy way in Afghanistan to save American lives. I think that led the judge to a reduced sentence. But over time, it seems to me that his position is hardened because he has put out a paper now saying that even if Fisher is overturned, he's going to now stack my misdemeanors to give me a 16-month sentence on the basis of my lack of remorse. Well, I have a constitutional right to remain silent, and I have said nothing in his courtroom. And I'm wondering if that lack of remorse is nothing more than a dog whistle to the left that I remain faithful to President Trump, because I most certainly do. He is the one man that can restore our republic.
But have you served time? Have you served your time, your sentence?
Sir, I've served. Okay, so that's the crazy thing, and that's why in my speech on Twitter I said indefinite post-conviction detention. So I've served a year and I've been released to a halfway house. I should be out of this halfway house no later than the 20th of August. However, I'm eligible for house arrest, I believe, on the 4th. I'm sorry, not the 4th, but the 9th of July. But the appellate court has already ruled in my favor to give me a sentence reduction. Congress changed the law for 0 prior offenders that gave me a sentence reduction, but the judge has not ruled on these because he chose to wait pending the Fisher decision. Now, this waiting that he did kept me in prison. For I should have been out on the 1st of April at the latest. Now, the sentencing guidelines with the what I've already been granted by the appellate court and the U.S. Congress are 10 to 12 months. With federal good time and First Step Act time, that would have put me out in January. So I have literally been in prison for almost an additional 5 months because the judge has not ruled on these things. Now, it is his right, his legal right to do this. I'm not questioning the authority of his courtroom, but it is frustrating to be sitting in prison knowing you could be free if a judge will just sign a piece of paper.
Lieutenant Colonel Larry Brock, I wish we had more time. Retired Lieutenant Colonel for the Air Force, recently released from federal prison on nonviolent charges. But as he said, it's complicated, related to Jan 6. Check out the full description of what we were discussing at Julie Kelly's Declassified Substack. Lieutenant Colonel Brock, thanks for joining us, and good luck with the outcome at the Supreme Court.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And I do want to say, Julie asked me to do a part 2. I submitted that to her last night, and so it should be up, within the next 4 or 5 days. Obviously, pending national events such as the release of the ruling on the 1512. We hope. Thank you very much for your interview. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and we'll definitely have you back. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we'll talk to our friend, econ professor Glenn Lowry. He's got a new book out. Late Admissions, Confessions of a Black Conservative. That's at 8:08.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
3 deputies shot in Dixon. 2 are recovering and out of the hospital. Cubs even their series against the Rays. WIND, Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
He hasn't been to the Capitol since just before the January 6th riot when he was still president. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, but Donald Trump is back this morning, about to meet this hour with House Republicans and then later with Senate Republicans, including Tom Cotton, who tells Fox.
Extending and maybe even making better and stronger the great Trump tax cuts of 2017, securing our border, rebuilding our military, and restoring respect for America around the world.
The former president will hold a news conference afterward at around 1:30 Eastern. Last night in Washington, protesters stormed the field at a congressional charity baseball game that Republicans won, beating Democrats 31-11. 8 of the protesters with the group Climate Defiance were arrested. Some pro-Palestinian demonstrators also escorted out of the stadium. Another pro-Palestinian protest escalated on another college campus, Cal State in Los Angeles.
It's up to 100 protesters who've been camped out for over a month, seizing a student services building, straining administrators and employees for hours who are instructed for a time to shelter in place. Now, staff members are now, fortunately, safe and sound.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. President Biden's in Italy, meeting with world leaders at the G7 summit.
The president has been in working meetings the last couple hours, basically huge roundtables where G7 leaders ask each other for help with big problems.
Fox's Peter Doocy at the White House. The president will also meet with Ukraine's leader and sign a security agreement further helping in the battle against Russia. A tropical disturbance keeps raining down in South Florida, where there's flooding and states of emergency declared from Miami to Fort Lauderdale over to Sarasota. And Fox meteorologist Janice Dean says
some of these areas that have received close to a foot or more will get an additional 3 to 5, 5 to 8 inches, especially around Fort Myers.
We just got another update showing tamer inflation last month, this time at the wholesale level. Producer prices dropped 0.2% from April, and the annual rate of increase dropped slightly, 2.2%. America's listening to Fox News.
75 degrees. We have gray skies right now, and some thunderstorms are crossing the area with some rain at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. A man walking on the city's north side was shot this morning. Chicago police say it happened around 1 a.m. in the 1600 block of Astor in the Gold Coast neighborhood. There is no one in custody. 3 children and 2 adults were hospitalized with critical injuries Wednesday. It all follows a multi-vehicle crash involving a bicycle on Chicago's north side. Chicago police responded to the 1600 block of West Jonquil Terrace in Rogers Park on a report of injuries. Police say a vehicle was driving at high speed, hit a blue Nissan, and then struck a 13-year-old on a bicycle before fleeing the scene. State police are investigating after 3 Ogle County Sheriff's deputies were shot in Dixon. Ogle County Sheriff Brian Van Vickle says they received a call yesterday from a homeowner claiming her adult son was having suicidal and homicidal thoughts after a standoff. 3 deputies entered the home. They were hit by gunfire. Then the suspect, identified as Jonathan Goneris, was struck by gunfire. We've learned that 2 of the deputies have been released from the hospital this morning. An expected plea deal for a former Chicago public school dean charged with sexually assaulting a student was vacated Wednesday amid a discrepancy in the terms of sentencing. Brian Crowder began to plead guilty to charges related to the sexual assault of a former student, but walked back that decision before the judge could sign off due to confusion over the length of time he would be required to register as a sex offender. He now will be back in court in August. Chicago aldermen signed off on a quiet zone ordinance that may run afoul of the U.S. Supreme Court. The controversial buffer zone is tied to an abortion clinic in the West Loop. Cubs over the Rays 4-3 at Tropicana Field, while the White Sox lost to Seattle 2-1. The news is a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Jewelry giant Signet says sales are recovering from a sluggish February, and May's business was strong. Signet is parent of Zales, Jared Kay, and Diamonds Direct. It says customers are responding to its new products and loyalty program, so it's standing by its forecast for the year. The stock is up 1%. Wall Street will be reacting today to the producer price index for May, prices at the wholesale level. Tesla's annual shareholder meeting is today. CEO Elon Musk says his huge pay deal and proposal to reincorporate the company in Texas are expected to pass. Also, Tesla says it will raise the price of Model 3 electric cars in the European Union. The EU decided to impose new tariffs on EVs imported from China. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola. Invested in you.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Chalk it up to the law of unintended consequences. The Biden campaign welcomed Alvin Bragg's prosecution of Donald Trump. They expected the conviction to destroy Trump's standing in the polls. They didn't realize their lawfare would help Trump erode Biden's last remaining advantage, his fundraising. In the first day after the guilty verdict, Trump raised $53 million. His May total was an eye-popping $141 million, almost twice as much as he raised in April. Trump had raised $124 million from 2021 through April of 2024. Now he's more than doubled that figure. For context, Biden's raised some $195 million to date. Given his sorry record, all Biden can do is demonize Trump. If the former president can summon the discipline to focus on a policy agenda for the future, he's sitting in the catbird seat. It certainly looks like he'll have the resources to get his message out.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child, too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit ConsumerCellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert, and I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
It's 8:09. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Windy City Safes. Windy City Safes is Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit Windy City Safe's Niles showroom or call 224-LOCKBOX or online at windycitysafes.com. Eden's outbound accident left shoulder between Niles Center and Oakton. Inbound Kennedy ramping up right now up to 65 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike inbound right now is a solid hour with an accident inbound at California. Stevenson jam solid Harlem to Kedzie with a full Dan Ryan ramp. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Breezy, sun, then clouds. A strong thunderstorm around this afternoon. Some hail damaging wind possible. High 90. Strong thunderstorm early this evening, otherwise partly cloudy. Low tonight 66. Sunny, pleasant, less humid tomorrow. The high near 81. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Clouds, some rain and thunderstorms crossing the area. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Glenn Lowry is an econ professor at Brown University. We've spoken with him before, but we've never really got into the depths of his story, starting on the south side of Chicago and ending up at some of the heights of academia in terms of going to the best schools, being a professor at some of the putatively best schools, but also some of the lows of his personal life, because we would have him on to talk public policy. We often review, as you've heard on the show, some of what he and John McWhorter have to say on his Glenn Show podcast, because they tackle some of the salient issues of the day, and they come at it from usually insightful and sometimes opposite perspectives, including, but not limited to, racial issues, economic issues too. He's a math genius and an econ professor, as I mentioned. He's the Merton P. Stoltz professor at the Watson Institute at Brown University. The Glenn Show, you can find on YouTube. He also writes at Glenn Loury, Loury, glennloury.substack.com. His new book is autobiographical, Late Admissions, Confessions of a Black Conservative, which he always hasn't been. I don't think he would always describe himself that way. So it's interesting that that's the choice for the title of his autobiography. Pleased to be joined again by Professor Glenn Loury. Glenn, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Oh, good morning, Dan. Good to be with you.
So you spend a lot of time in this book talking about your personal ups and downs. And I wonder why you've decided to include so many things that cast you in less than a positive light.
Well, I wanted to tell the truth about my life in the book. I didn't want to fool around. It's not a pose. It's not an act. I'm not marketing myself. I'm not trying to manage my brand. I'm trying to write something serious for the ages that is true to my life, and that I hope through the full telling of the story, including recovery, rebound, and renewal, that I can do something useful for people who might be going through similar struggles. So I want to be serious. I decided playtime was over. I'm in my 70s. I've accomplished a lot, but I have also made missteps. I think that I can learn from honest review of my life, and I think that if I report that out in an artfully crafted piece of writing, I can contribute something for the ages. And with modesty, I'm trying to say something that will resonate down through the years, not just make for a nice, poster for marketing purposes. I want to tell the truth.
One of the reviewers of your book said it was a story early on in your life of too much, too fast, talking about sort of your quick rise when it became clear to you and to others at places like Northwestern that you had a real aptitude for math. Is that accurate? Is that how you feel about it? Too much, too fast, too much success, too early?
No, actually, it's true that I was a relatively young full professor at Harvard in my early 30s, but I was a father at 17, and if you want to say that was too much too soon, I suppose you could say so. I worked really, really hard to transform my life in my late teens and early 20s, and I think there were periods that I did not handle very well, but I don't know if I would characterize it as too much too soon.
So, so you have children early, and you're pursuing this academic career, and you're finding success. So, since you got personal, tell us a little bit about the personal side as you're enjoying some, very positive reviews and achieving things that are not difficult to achieve in academic settings.
Well, as a young father, not yet at the MIT and Harvard that lay in my future, I had an affair outside of my marriage with a woman I was working with. I worked at R.R. Donnelly & Sons, the printing complex, Lakeside Press on the near South Side, and met someone there and fathered a child out of wedlock whom I did not recognize for years and years, had no relationship with my son, Alden, who's now a relatively prominent journalist in Chicago and with whom I have a wonderful relationship, him and his children. But it took many years for me to man up to my responsibilities and to face up to the consequences of my own actions. I eventually ended up at Harvard, where I was a full professor of economics and Afro-American studies. But I had a crisis in my professional life and felt like I couldn't measure up to the expectations that I had for myself and that others had for me in that position, and kind of lost my nerve as a mathematical economist and decided to shift the focus of my work to being more public and policy oriented, which was good in its way, but which I know truthfully reflected a fact of my own lack of confidence in my abilities to perform as I had hoped that I would do. And I have to own up to that in the book. I developed what could be called a sexual addiction of relying on illicit, extramarital, sometimes paying to play relationships with women. And I report serial sequence of affairs and relationships, including one that eventually blew up in my face with a young woman whom I was involved with, who accused me of assault. And that became a big public scandal in my life. It forced me to withdraw from a government appointment and so on and so forth. I could go on in this vein. People should read the book if they want to know all the gory details. But what I want them to know about my life is that going through all of this, I came out the other side of it. I had a wonderful relationship with a Christian evangelical congregation here in Boston. My marriage was healed. My wife, Linda, and I went on to have two wonderful sons who are in their 30s now and so on. I tell all of this in the book, but it's a story of triumphs, but also of missteps, of immorality and behaviors that I can't say I'm proud of, but that I'm happy to say that I have outgrown.
Do you think the Lord helped you get back on track and find peace?
I did, and though I don't profess the Christian faith to the same degree, and I talk about my challenges with faith, my journey with the Lord in the book. I talk about it at length. I do think, and I would not hesitate to say, that I was lost, and then I was found, that I was walking through the valley of the shadow of death, and the Lord put his hand on me. I was robbed at gunpoint more than once on the streets of Boston when I was out there doing drugs. The woman who stood by me, Linda, the late Linda Lowry, the economist who was my wife of nearly 30 years and who passed away in 2011 from breast cancer, she stuck with me through thick and thin, through humiliation and through my awful behavior. And I can only say that that's the grace of God. I certainly did not earn that blessing of her fidelity and her love. The Lord blessed us with two beautiful sons in the late 80s and early 90s, who, as I say, have grown into fine young men now. I survived my bout with cocaine addiction and came out the other side of it. Again, I think the Lord's hand was on me. So, yeah, I certainly didn't do it on my own.
Yeah, some other reviews, including from Jason Riley over at the Journal, focus on racial politics over the course of your life and your academic career, and the sort of in sort of where you've taken positions on social and cultural issues that have rankled both the left and the right. And I just wonder if you could summarize your journey in part through your experience coming up in much more racial polarized times than we have now, I guess, to some extent, at least by law, if not by culture. Your sort of evolving views on race relations in America over the time of your academic career.
Well, in a word, I was on the left until I was on the right, until I was on the left, until I was on the right.
Yeah, right. yeah, that's a good way to summarize it.
Now, let me break it down. I came up on the south side of Chicago in the 50s and 60s during the civil rights movement and Black Power movement and whatnot. And by the time I came out of college, you would have called me a liberal Democrat. I don't see any way that you could avoid doing so. I was on the left. I got trained in economics, and that made me have a deeper understanding of capitalism, the market, the price system, free enterprise initiative, property, the importance of property rights, the rule of law, the liberal order, the source and the foundation of our prosperity in modern society, and that made me relatively more conservative. I came along during the period of the Reagan Revolution, and I was influenced by, as an economist, some of the doctrine of the low tax, low regulation, supply side sentiment that made me relatively more conservative. I had a long-standing distrust of the civil rights philosophy that says all the problems of black people are due to racism, discrimination, exclusion, marginality, systemic structural forces. I didn't trust that narrative. And in the late 70s and early 80s, I spent a lot of time close to Detroit. I watched that city slide down into a pit. I thought that the advocacy of the interests of low-income African Americans didn't pay enough attention to the personal responsibility issues, didn't acknowledge the significance of the collapse of the family, didn't see the lure and the snare that welfare dependency constituted, didn't put enough emphasis on public safety questions, and I started writing about that. I said police brutality is not the problem here. Criminality is the problem in the city of Detroit. Violence. Too many people can't be secure in their person and their property, can't feel safe within their homes. They need order. They need security. They need the state to step in and enforce the law, that kind of idea. And that pushed me more and more to the right. I had a personal crisis, as I've hinted at. I had a bout with drug addiction. I had this scandal that I've mentioned. And I came into a relationship with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And that caused me to look at my politics in a completely different way. And I started moving more in the direction of compassion and more toward a sense of feeling that the people who were disadvantaged needed our attention and needed our help and our support. I had problems with some of my conservatives on friends and colleagues on the right, and I write about that in the book. And I found myself on the question of mass incarceration moving to the left. I had a period in my life where I was proudly pronouncing my disdain at the way in which the United States was handling our law enforcement issues. And so I moved a little bit to the left. I talk about all of this in the book. And then the Black Lives Matter craziness comes along, the defund the police craziness, the post-George Floyd, post-Michael Brown, post-Trayvon Martin craziness comes along. And I find I can't go with that kind of system blame, America-hating, socialist, don't like the nuclear family, that conflicted with my values. I found myself moving to the right again. So sorry to go on so long. It's been a meandering journey, but I've ended up thinking I was right all along with my conservatism back in the 80s. So I've come home.
Well, it's funny, too. Is it true that professors at Northwestern, and by the way, did you interact with Bob Eisner when you were there?
I did know Bob Eisner, knew him very well, very prominent macroeconomist.
Yeah, he was somebody I sparred with when I was there, and so I just was curious what your relationship was with him, because I read an account where it was suggested that professors at Northwestern who saw your talent wanted to steer you away from the University of Chicago so you didn't fall in with the likes of Milton Friedman.
Yeah, that's true. They were all Keynesians. They were all
exactly.
Soft lefties, kind of social democrats. And they saw me, a talented young black kid from the South Side, and they didn't want to see me go the way of, I don't know, Thomas Sowell and Walter Williams. And, in a way, it was good that I got out of Chicago and away from a lot of the things that were going on day to day and my family life and stuff, where and got to a place where I could concentrate on my graduate studies. And MIT, notwithstanding the fact that they are to the left of the people in Hyde Park, speaking of economists, was an outstanding department with many brilliant people. I got a terrific training in economics at MIT. But Chicago would have been fine, and I found myself with greater and greater sympathy for the intellectual inheritance of Milton Friedman and George Stigler and Gary Becker and others, and also the law and economics group at the law school and the finance people at the business school. Chicago is a towering center of excellence in economics research, and I would have been fine over at Chicago. But yeah, my teachers pointed me in a different direction.
Glenn Loury is the Merton P. Stoltz Professor at the Watson Institute at Brown University. He's the host of The Glenn Show on YouTube. That's his podcast, and it often features, I think, was it weekly or every other week with John McWhorter from Columbia?
It's every other week with Big Water, but I post new content every week, so we have other guests.
Yeah, right. The Glenn Show, that's on YouTube. Glenn Lowry also has a Substack, glennlowry.substack. But pick up the new book. I mean, an unbelievable life story, really. And obviously, if you're not familiar with Glenn, you should get familiar with him. He's a towering intellect. Late Admissions is the title of the book. Late Admissions, Confessions of a Black Conservative. Professor Lowry, thank you for joining us again. Good luck with the book. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Dan. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your show keeps me alive during the week. There's nobody I'd rather listen to between 5 and 9 in the morning than you guys.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Smoke fumes and dust are a nuisance your business can do without, causing health hazards for employees and possible EPA problems for your company. If you need help cleaning up these problems, call a company that has the expertise and capability to help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. I've got over 40 years of personal experience in dealing with smoke fumes and dust emissions, and I can help you eliminate these problems from your plant. Contact Vans for a no-cost evaluation of your system, and we will size equipment, design hoods and ductwork for a complete turnkey solution.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest levels to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND to schedule your ventilation inspection today. That's 833-VANSIND. You can also visit them online at vansindustrial.com. That's VANSindustrial.com. Vans Industrial, working safe since 1964.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-355-4107 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-355-4107. That's 800-355-4107. What do you have to lose? Call 800-355-4107. Again, 800-355-4107.
It's almost time once again for the annual AM 560 Golf Outing presented by Signature Bank. And this year, AM 560 is proud to partner with the Tunnel to Towers Foundation to help them support America's first responders and military heroes, including homeless veterans, and to help America never forget 9/11. This year, our golf outing is happening on Wednesday, June 19th at McRae Memorial Golf Club in Barrington. When you purchase a foursome to join us, you'll enjoy a full day of golf, meals, an awards reception, and a silent auction. And if you're a business owner, when you purchase a foursome, you'll also receive an AM 560 marketing package, which includes 25 one-minute commercials between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. and a free digital marketing analysis. And we also have twosomes available in addition to foursomes. Reserve your foursome today at 560theanswer.com/golf. That's 560theanswer.com/golf. Sponsored in part by Control Point Engineering, Waukegan Roofing, and by Crosscom Public Adjusters.
Hi, this is Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions in Union, Illinois, with my current want list for upcoming auctions. Guns and military items are always at the top of my list, but I have buyers for vintage automobiles and motorcycles, old gas pumps and automotive signs. Do you have pinball machines and coin-operated games like slot machines, jukeboxes? How about Coke machines and soda machines? Also, neon signs, antique phonographs and music boxes, old toys, especially science fiction and Star Wars. Cowboy and Native American collections like barbershop, ice cream parlor, and saloon items. We'll take one item or an entire collection. We sell it all. Call me before you sell your items outright because you could be leaving a fortune on the table. And you won't know until you call me at 815-923-7000 or send me an email at DonnellyAuctions.com. My job is to get you top dollar for your collections, so call me at 815-923-7000. I'm Randy Donnelly, and I'll see you at the auction.
AM 560, The Answer.
We've had some great guests this morning. Whew.
Yeah, that was fun. Glenn, it's always great to talk to Professor Lowry.
Lieutenant Colonel Larry Brock from a halfway house.
It's
so frustrating that what their government is doing to him wants me to gouge somebody's eyes out.
Well, we're waiting with bated breath for that Supreme Court ruling on 1512. So,
and we'll have them back.
Discuss it when it comes over the transom.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38, latest installment of Why Dan Proft is Single.
I can't wait. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
75 degrees at 8:33. President Biden in Italy joining world leaders for the annual G7 summit. Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton moments ago criticizing his appearance and demeanor.
It's harmful to America's interests when world leaders see a president who is infirm and weak, shuffling around the stage, not knowing where he's supposed to go. As we saw at D-Day, trying to sit down in chairs that aren't even there and shuffling off the stage. They know that they can take advantage of America. And that's not just our adversaries, our allies as well.
The Biden campaign says those claims are baseless and the president is mentally fit for a second term. U.S. Supreme Court expected to make some major decisions. Some of them could happen as soon as today. Noteworthy decisions pending before the summer recess include cases regarding presidential immunity and charges related to the January 6th Capitol rioting. NYPD investigating 2 acts of vandalism at both the German consulate building in Midtown and the homes of leaders of the Brooklyn Museum this morning.
I think it's terrible. I don't think it's an effective way to deal with the problem.
On Wednesday morning, red paint could be seen on the German consulate building, and this morning, red paint and graffiti at the home of the Brooklyn Museum's director and many of its Jewish board members. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declaring a state of emergency in 5 southern counties in that state due to severe flooding, 10 to 15 inches of rain. A man walking on the city's north side was shot this morning. Chicago police tell us the shooting happened around 1 a.m. in the 1600 block of Astor in the Gold Coast neighborhood. Chicago police also continue investigating after 3 children and 2 adults were hospitalized with serious to critical injuries following a multi-vehicle crash involving a bicycle on Chicago's north side. Police say a vehicle driving at high speed struck another vehicle, then went on to hit that 13-year-old boy on the bike before fleeing the scene. Cubs over the Rays 4-3 at Tropicana Field, while the White Sox lost to Seattle 2-1. U.S. Open teeing off today from Pinehurst in North Carolina. The news, a service of Health Insurance Mentors. Are you 65 or older and thinking about Medicare? Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today. For free Medicare advice, visit healthinsurancementors.com or call 630-674-1551. A check of traffic and weather coming up next on AM 560.
If you listen to the mainstream media and the Democrats, you'd think it was a sin to be black and conservative. Well, John Anthony blows up that perception every week on Black and Right. Join John this Saturday afternoon at 4 when he pushes back against the left and its regressive, progressive agenda that tries to dictate how people should think or feel about politics. Listen to Black and Right this Saturday afternoon at 4 right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Lock 'em up with Windy City Safes.
A home is burglarized every 15 seconds in the United States. What are you doing to keep your most prized possessions safe? Windy City Safes is Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. When it comes to protecting your valuables, you want the best of the best. That's why Liberty Safes are proud to say that all Liberty Safes are made in the USA with a transferable lifetime warranty. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Discover the best of the best in safe manufacturing with Liberty, America's #1 producer of heavy-duty home and gun safes. Well over 100 safes in stock for immediate pickup or delivery. Windy City Safes is proud to offer military and first responder discounts. Come visit our showroom in Niles or call 224-LOCKBOX. That's 224-LOCKBOX. Or online at WindyCitySafes.com. That's WindyCitySafes.com.
Lock 'em up with Windy City Safes.
Are your file cabinets stuffed with work orders, invoices, bills of lading, medical records, and or compliance papers? There's a solution to clear the clutter by converting your documents into accessible digital form with the help of IDT. They can scan your documents for you or provide you with the technology to transform your workspace with easy and innovative IoT smart connected scanning technology. IoT smart connected scanning not only captures your information, it connects your documents directly to your existing digital systems, ensuring seamless integration and immediate access. Plus, it works with your existing Microsoft Office 365 technology. Convert those physical files into secure, searchable, easy-to-find digital formats. Goodbye, paper chaos. Hello, streamlined, secure digital environment. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready, the number 4idt.com. IDT, putting paper in its place.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Tom. Welcome to my garage. I don't need new cars. In fact, I like old cars. Old cars remind me of me. I take Balance of Nature. I feel great. Take my word for it. If you want to feel great, take Balance of Nature. You'll never regret it.
Time's ticking. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first order, plus a free fiber and spice supplement while supplies last, with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Hurry, this week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This hourly segment is brought to you by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping you powered up no matter what the conditions. CharlesEquipment.com.
8:39. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is the service of Macy's. Find the perfect Father's Day gift with Macy's Gift Finder. In just a couple of clicks, you'll get personalized gift ideas for every dad at every budget. Visit Macys.com/gift finder. Give love today at Macy's. Outbound Eden's accident, right shoulder. You're gummed up between Montrose and Oakton. It's an hour 20 on the inbound Kennedy O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbounders on the Kennedy, 40 minutes back out to the big airport. Inbound on the Ike, you're jammed up York Road to the Tri-State. Typical morning heavy, 66 in to the old post office. Outbound Ike, accident right shoulder at Ashland. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Hot one today. Strong thunderstorms popping up throughout the day. High 90. Thunderstorms early overnight, low 66. Clouds, 75 at O'Hare, partly sunny at Midway, 77. Light rain in Waukegan, and 70. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Ladies, gather around.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea about this story.
Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. Woman who allegedly assaulted a flight attendant tries to avoid public intoxication arrest by police who boarded the plane by offering sex.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Officers called to DFW about a flight attendant who had been assaulted by a passenger. When they board the plane, they find a woman who appeared to be intoxicated. She had been moved to the front of the plane and was slumped over in her mom's lap.
Her mom was there?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Mom.
She's not a kid either.
Oh, no.
Slumped over in her mom's lap with zip tie handcuffs on. Officers were able to get her off the plane by using a wheelchair.
Oh, my gosh.
Her mom telling officers the daughter did have several drinks throughout the day, and then she had a couple of shots before boarding, and then was packing several mini bottles of booze on the plane.
Oh, don't do that, girlfriend.
Mom could have been a better chaperone.
Yeah. Why didn't Mom step in and say, all right, we're going to have to cut you off there?
So after they wheeled her off of the plane, and before they took her down for processing, this happened.
Oh my goodness. You're cute. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to make out with you. Okay. Hey, can you not?
Sit down. Stay soon.
Fight?
Stay soon.
So Mom, I really feel like I'm being like raped right now. Okay. You're my mouth. Forever. That's not fair. How is that fair? I love you. And if you actually want to have sex with me, you can let go of this and kiss me. And my brother's probably gonna put your with me. Oh my God, please put your in my mouth right now.
Hello.
Go right now, or I will literally shove every in my throat. Go now. Go. You won't. You know what I will do? I will literally bend over backwards. Pick me the f*** up, take me home, and stop. You're being a and this guy has really, his is definitely bigger than yours. It's fine. Sir, pick me up. I want to go home. Now. Pick me the f*** up and take me home. I will punch you in your f***ing vagina. You hear that? Yeah. Your name's Roy. I would hate that too. Pick me up and take me the f*** home right now. I will literally do anything you tell me to do right now.
All right, stay seated.
The multiple officers responding to this call and wheeling her out, not interested in her offers that started with, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make out with you.
This is how this is gonna go down, officer.
By the way, not a runway model we're talking about. You see the video?
Really fake blonde hair.
She's
her mom actually looks better than she does, but she's 3 sheets to the wind at this point.
She's also, tipping the scales at about $1.70.
Well, I'd say $1.80.
Okay,
maybe $200. You think she was hungover the next day?
All the officers are just standing around while she's sitting there, zip tied, and she said, "It's a little hard to hear, so I just want to make sure you didn't miss it. You're blank in my mouth forever. I love you. If you actually want to have sex with me, we can let go of this and kiss me. Pick me up and take me the blank home. You're being a peahat. Pick me the blank up, or I will punch you in the vagina." 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636DA, turnkey.pro, text line. I haven't heard that kind of begging to get out of a difficult situation since...
that lady said she had PTSD.
No, actually, since MacGruber blew up his colleagues in that van and was pleading with Ryan Gosling to let him back on the mission.
Don't make me beg here. I will suck your I will suck your I will do it. Just join my team. I'll suck your You can me or get by me. You can watch me something. Just put something in the room and I'll it for you. Come on, just tell me what you want me to Jesus Christ, MacGruber. Just tell me what you want me to Okay, I don't have any lubricant. Do you see any whiteout or like copy toner should work?
Have you ever seen MacGruber?
No, Dan.
It's a very funny film, actually. Very funny. Very good
no,
spoof.
I haven't seen that. Or Bachelor Party.
You haven't seen a good MacGyver spoof until you've seen Will Forte bouncing around with a celery stalk up his butt. I mean, I just have to tell you. Steve in Downers Grove, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Call in if you dare.
Oh, hey, Dan, thanks for taking my call. Two very quick comments.
Yeah.
The lady on the airplane must be a Democrat. I can't imagine a Republican being that goofy. And listen, I've got an idea. I've got an idea for you as a girlfriend. How about Laura Ingraham or Ingraham, whatever her name is? She's a blonde like Amy. She's got a law degree. You've got a law degree.
Uh-huh.
You're both a little older. You might be a good match. Why don't you start to hit on her, and there you go.
I'll pass. That's a hard pass for me. First of all, she's more than a little older than me. I know she's, pancaked up for television, but she's probably...
You like him young.
She's probably 10 years my senior.
Hey, this drunk chick, which is another reason why Dan Proft is single, she has a T-shirt on that says, I am Travis Kelce. A sweatshirt. And it says, I am Travis Kelce. And it's written in 4 different ways.
Of course she does. Yeah, she's...
I am Travis Kelce. Yeah, you're hammered, but...
She's, lying in wait if things don't work out with Taylor Swift. No question about it.
No, it's a white sweatshirt that has writing, I am Travis Kelce.
Anybody ever have that sort of experience with a member of the distaff side when they get drunk?
312-642.
Propositioning everybody and everything in their vicinity.
312-642-5600. We'd love to hear your story. If you can keep it clean.
It's getting more and more surreal to be on these commercial flights, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot more. It's just a lot of
miss the days of when people would take off their shoes because now they act like this.
It's sort of a lot of low rent. There's a lot of low rent behavior going on at airports and on airplanes, more than I remember. Tom in Blue Island.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I don't appreciate you guys making fun of the woman I've chosen to spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah. Well, Tom, you just need to look after her. Thanks for the call.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, she should not be left to her own devices.
Why didn't her mom hello, Mom?
I guess
because your kid's older, you can't stop parenting, right?
Well, not in this case. I guess Mom was busy trying to explain her daughter's conduct to the officers when all of the propositioning and threats were flying about from her in their direction. They did allow her to use the bathroom before they took her off to process her for public intoxication. But
and she wasn't charged with assault.
Yeah.
At the very end, it was just public intoxication
and
public humiliation because everyone's seeing this video now.
Yes, well, that's another reason why Dan Proft is single. I don't want to chaperone middle-aged drunk women.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by July 31st, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-887-1010. That's 800-887-1010.
All right. Do any of you have chronic pain in your knees, hips, back, elbow, shoulder? Well, if so, and a doctor has recommended surgery, get a second opinion from our good friends at QC Kinetics. Call them today. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. We're talking lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. At QC Kinetics, their advanced treatments harness your own body's ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. Think about it. If you cut your hand, eventually it heals. So you can walk and run and hike and play golf, play pickleball, play tennis, move again pain-free. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of former orthopedic surgeon Dr. Mitchell Shinecup. He's a true pioneer in regenerative medicine. Now their advanced protocols have enabled tens of thousands of patients to reclaim their mobility. So stop putting it off. Take action now and live your best life again. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. Yes, they're open on Saturdays and have new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. Go for that free consultation. Find out more. It's really a remarkable thing to see. 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745.
Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
You know what would be interesting to hear is what cops have been propositioned with to avoid arrest.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like you get speeding ticket, you get the waterworks and the sorry. But I mean,
or
like,
it's that time of the month.
But not the excuses, but actually propositioned like the police in that situation at DFW.
Well, I got propositioned once by a cop. So it was my 1996. I was driving down Irving Park Road, you know, cub reporter, all excited going to work. I got pulled over by a white cop, and he gave me a ticket, and he said,
"Why did he have to be white?"
I don't.
All right, go ahead.
And he was tall, too, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, listen, I'll get you out of this ticket if you promise to go to this church service. It was a Calvinist church on the northwest side of Chicago, kind of like in a strip mall type of situation. So I actually went to this church service. It scared me to death. Have you ever been to a Calvinist
What did he
service?
check you in?
No, he wasn't even there. He wasn't at the church service.
Wait a second. The proposition was not
he wanted
like
me to go to church.
Not like you go to date. He just like he sees you're a godless member of the media, and he's trying to save your eternal soul. So he says, if you go to, that's not, I wouldn't call that being propositioned.
It was a proposition. He said, will you go? And I said,
I mean,
officer, I promise I'll go. And then I went and I thought they were going to sacrifice a chicken.
Okay.
And I was so scared.
All right.
I want my Episcopal church back.
I don't think that when people hear the word being propositioned, I don't think that's what they're thinking, especially with police.
All right.
Any other times you've been propositioned by law enforcement or?
No, I've gotten out of a few.
What about politicians? Did you get propositioned by Proco Joe Moreno?
Proco Joe. All right. Yeah, like if I did something with him, maybe I could get my kid into a selective enrollment high school.
When you and the other Lincoln Park Trixies were
we're the Rat Pack.
The Bells of the Ball downtown, did you go around propositioning people to get you like past the velvet ropes or anything like that?
No, they would just see us and let us in.
Of course.
Oh,
of course.
Oh,
of
please.
Course.
Back in the day. All right. Summer is here. And Dan, I want to know if you had any fruits and veggies yesterday. I hope I'm not getting too personal. But
I
what did you
had
have?
steamed broccoli with my filet at Chicago Cut. So that's a vegetable.
I know.
Yeah.
That was it for the whole day?
Yes.
You need more. You need balance of nature. Fruits and veggies in a capsule. Supplements that are needed. Why? Because when you eat healthy in a well-balanced diet, you will have more energy. You'll be happy. And this is the way to go. Balance of nature. 6 capsules a day. 10 different servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. I crack mine open into warm water And voila. And guess what? You're going to love it. So is your body, mind, and your heart will thank you for it. Order your fruits and vegetable supplements today. 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35% off your first order and free shipping as a preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com. Use coupon code Chicago. Balance of Nature fruits and vegetable supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Our communities deserve to have their tax dollars spent efficiently. All over Chicagoland, there is an increased need for vital projects like wetland improvements, enhancing water quality, or stormwater mitigation to protect homes against devastating floods. Too often, public officials find themselves at the mercy of outside advisors when planning, budgeting, and building these projects. And let's face it, they rarely meet deadlines or budgets, leaving our communities vulnerable. There's a better way forward. Control Point Engineering. At Control Point Engineering, we're more than just civil engineers. We're champions of quality and efficiency with over 40 years of hands-on experience. Teaming up with Earthworks Land Development, we're breaking down barriers and streamlining processes. Say goodbye to disjointed partnerships and hello to seamless collaboration. From conceptualization to construction, Control Point Engineering delivers everything you need in one unified package, saving you time and money. Visit ControlPointLLC.com today to learn about our successful projects all across Chicagoland. Again, that's ControlPointLLC.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
What did I get? I got an email. After her arrest, I'm sure that lady from the plane had a lot of downtime.
Hey-o.
It was a real layover.
Oh.
Zing. All right.
Okay, thanks so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to Justin Kosick, our technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy, our executive producer, lining up those great interviews that we had today. We are back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now let's check into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Chicago aldermen approve a quiet zone around a West Loop abortion clinic and consider a curfew. 3 deputies and a suspect were shot in Dixon yesterday. Chicago Red Stars are exploring soccer options after riot